I must not fear. Fear, it is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Oh, there you are. I've been waiting for you. Yes, you. If you're watching this through a film book or Shiga wire projector, know that our tale takes place in the year 10,191 AG. The Imperium of Thousand Worlds is ruled by the Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV. The most valuable substance in the universe is the spice melange. The spice prolongs life. For some, it grants the gifts of prescience. The spice is essential for space travel and intergalactic trade. The Spacing Guild's navigators use the spice's gifts of prescience to safely travel from one side of the universe to the other, using faster-than-light equipped ships called hayliners. Spice is also highly addictive, however, and withdrawals can cause one's death. Melange can only be found on one planet in the Imperium, a desolate and harsh desert planet called Arrakis. Also known as Dune, it is home to the Fremen, descendants of the ancient Zensuni wanderers. The Fremen of Arrakis are the real masters of Dune, and have long maintained a prophecy that a voice from the outer world will come as a messiah and transform their world forever. This prophecy, this myth, was planted into their society by a secretive order known as the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. They too used the spice in order to gain glimpses into the future. Indeed, their renowned Reverend Mothers possessed the ability to access the other memory of their female ancestors, allowing them to become fountains of knowledge and wisdom. For over a millennia, the Sisterhood has manipulated bloodlines in order to create an all-seeing and all-knowing evolved human. Someone capable of accessing the genetic memory of both male and female ancestors, stretching all the way back to the beginning of time itself, the Kwisatz Haderach. In these times, the Sisterhood has focused their efforts on breeding two known great houses with one another to consummate their generations-long breeding program. House Atreides and House Harkonnen. Their machinations have become that much more complicated, however, due to the long-standing feud, nay, vendetta, between the two houses. Recently, the noble House Atreides has been given the tremendous opportunity by the Emperor to mine Arrakis for the spice, replacing their enemies, the Harkonnens. But there is treachery afoot, for in the game of houses, nothing is truly as it seems. Welcome to Dune Saga, everyone! This is an awesome adventure tabletop gaming series right here in Vorpal Tales that will begin with the one-shot scenario that takes place just before the events of the original Frank Herbert novel of Dune. I'm at Marone Recluse, your chronicler for this tale. Our plan here at Vorpal Tales is to bring you some more stories in the Dune series as time progresses. So at the start, I'd like to give a big shout out to Modifius Entertainment, creators of many awesome games we play right here. For this story, we will be using a modified version of theirs and Free League's award-winning Arabesque-themed RPG, Coriolis. Check it out if you haven't done so yet. It's a solid game, and its setting is very, very... If you're into sci-fi, and if you've been wanting to run a Firefly game with your friends, this is definitely the game for you. We will be switching to the official Doom role-playing game once Modifius releases that awesomeness for all of us to consume. Please remember to follow Modifius Entertainment and Vorpal Tales on Twitch. Visit our website on vorpaltales.com and find the link to our Discord. Subscribe and come back, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/vorpaltales. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. Also, very big thanks to Tyler's brother at N8Mid for the endlessly cool custom character sheets he makes for our games. Lastly, but not least, big thank you to Astral Tabletop for providing us an awesome platform, perfect for hosting all of our games and providing excellent music for us to play. Before we dive into the history and themes of Dune, I have here with me today some brave souls who will venture into the sands of Arrakis for love, death, and adventure. Introduce yourselves, tell us who you're playing, and regale us about your first impressions of Dune and if it had any lasting influence on you. We shall start with Steve.
Hello. You're asking about my character?
Just about you, like who
Oh,
are you?
me. Sorry. Hi, Steve. You can find me here at pretty much everything we do at Vorpal Tales. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade. And yeah, I'm just really into Vorpal Tales, man.
Tim?
Hi guys, I am Tim. I am at Othellos99 on the internet, and Dune was a hell of an impact on me, both the literature-wise as well as cinematographically.
I'm going to interrupt and pause you there. Steve, apparently we have a big volume disparity between the players and your mic.
Uh-oh.
My mic?
You're loud, we're quiet. That probably just means you have the one thing set low.
Okay. Well,
I wanted to make sure we fixed that before Tim really gave a heartfelt thing.
What about now, guys?
Testing?
Audience,
No.
better.
Testing.
Kimchi.
1, 2, 42, hike.
Also, is the keyboard quieter, I guess?
I mean... Okay.
Now apparently it went the other way.
Now Steve's voice is quiet and his keyboard's loud.
What about us, though? Are we okay? Keyboard's easy to fix.
Is
Eric's mic. Okay.
always quiet.
Okay. I will have the desktop where everyone comes through at max volume. They can't go any higher.
Everyone else is fine.
So yeah. Yeah, I have everyone else at max volume. I have me at about 75.
Okay.
So.
Eric, say something.
Hola.
Do you have a way to turn your own mic volume up? They're saying it's just you. And apparently Steve.
Of course. Okay.
For me, Steve is much louder than Eric.
Yeah.
And Tim. Basically everyone.
Same. I'm getting that same thing as well.
I don't know. Anything here?
Nope, it's not a can of worms. Ever. It's whenever we start a brand new game, you always want to work this out in the first 10 minutes. It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you got louder.
It's like tradition.
You did something, Eric. Yeah, what about you, audience? Talk for a second, Eric.
Hola. Anybody hear me?
He did get louder.
Yeah. I think we're good now.
Oh yeah!
Mike.
Oh yeah! All right. Thank goodness.
Just had to
All right.
threaten it.
Hurt your computer. All right, go ahead. Finish your thought, Tim.
All right, Tim, tell us.
Derailed.
We derailed your train. I'm sorry.
Rip.
Start fresh.
All right, starting fresh. I am Tim. You can find me on the internet at Othellos99. And I fell in love with the Dune series first as a book, and then even more so as a movie, and it has turned into a cult classic.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to do this.
Awesome. Jared.
Yes. Me. Believe it or not, I read the books way back in the day when I started high school. I absolutely loved them. Honestly, the themes in that book were awesome. To be honest with you, it was very adult and all that good stuff. So But honestly, I'm rather new to tabletops, so had like a year, so we'll be okay. And I'm a little nervous, so I apologize if I start to ramble a little bit.
You're cool, man. No worries. Tyler.
I read the Dune book for the first time when I was like 8. As far as I know, it's still the best-selling science fiction series of all time, and there's a reason why. Everything about the books is amazing. Everything about the movies is, and everything about the miniseries is great.
A really big book for an 8-year-old. I'm just saying.
Yeah, man. You beat me by like 8 years.
Yeah, jeez.
I discovered it in high school, and it was like way over my head, but I kept going with it. Yeah, it was very. I changed my whole way of thinking. All right.
Because I was 8, it helped form some of what I think about philosophy even now. Thank you, Frank Herbert.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we jump into the Knight's Tale, I want to talk about Frank Herbert's masterpiece of science fiction and why it's so relevant today, more so than ever. I also want to go over for the setting for those of you who are not familiar with Dune, but just want to see what all the fuss is about. It was written first in 1965 by Frank Herbert. It's an award-winning science fiction novel unlike any other. It's wildly imaginative and incorporates many important and interesting themes into its narrative. The books that followed Dune is a series referred to as the Chronicles, delve into politics, religion, sociology, philosophy, ecology, mysticism, and environmentalism, gender dynamics, and much more. This is an epic story where humanity tries to evolve itself instead of trying to evolve its technology. It's been highly influential to a lot of science fiction that we know and love today, whether you realize it or not. As for why it's relevant today, one of the most prevailing themes of the Dune series is to never blindly follow any leader. Something that is not at all relevant in 2020. There's also the dangers of people doing things without thinking critically, how the environment shapes a society and vice versa. What happens when religion is suffused into government, how humanity's greatest strength is its ability to adapt. All of these are just some of the themes that are explored in the Dune series. The timeline is, as well as its rich histories, are way too vast to go into such detail in this particular venue, but what is relevant to know, however, is that the people of the Dune universe have a great fear of thinking machines. In the setting's Orange Catholic Bible, it states very emphatically, "Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a human mind." This occurred because of an event called the Butlerian Jihad, a war against thinking machines and the people who were in control of those machines. Once freed from these constraints, humanity evolved itself to fill the roles previously given to those thinking machines. This is how the Mentats, the human computers, and the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood schools were born. This is also how the Spacing Guild came into being. Born out of that great conflagration, humanity became what it is in the setting presented to us in the first novel. The setting itself, along with humanity, evolved over the course of the Chronicles and sets up an incredible epic story that runs for thousands of years. I urge anyone who's even remotely interested in the series to pick up and read that first book. Speaking of somebody who picked up the series in high school, it really did change my reality and my perception of it. That's 100% for sure. With that being said, we can get into some of the more minute mechanics and such for Coriolis before we begin tonight's awesome adventure. Players in this game choose concepts, which give them a starting point as to how to base their character. The original impetus behind the game is that each player takes the role of a person aboard a spaceship as they adventure into space. Because this is Dune, we're instead adjusting this so that the players occupy a role within a great house of the Landrad. Specifically, House Atreides. So instead of a soldier or scientist, your choices are more like Mentat and Swordmaster. Coriolis uses a very simple dice pool resolution mechanic that combines a character's attribute score to the appropriate skill on a check. Total becomes a pool of 6-sided dice. When those dice are rolled, we check for 6s. Those are considered successes. Traditionally, Coriolis allows its players to reroll any roll that may not result in a success. Doing so, however, awards the Game Master special points, which they can use later to cause trouble for the players. But the Dune universe is pretty unforgiving already. This is why, though I'm not allowing rerolls, I will not allow the GM myself to use these points to create problem for our entourage, as it were. Initiative for combat is rolled with 1 6-sided die for each character taking part in the combat, usually. Weapons play a special role in adjusting the initiative total. The lighter and easier the weapon is to wield, the sooner its wielder will get to act with that weapon. Players and NPCs are allowed 3 action points a round with which to spend and to attack, move, and perform other actions. Earning more than 1 success in combat rolls is good because they will allow players and NPCs alike to spend those excess successes to perform special maneuvers like disarm, applying extra damage to the target, and even improving a character's place in the initiative. In melee combat, successes can be opposed with other melee rolls if the character has sufficient action points to react. Range attacks, however, generally cannot be evaded in Coriolis, which is why armor and cover are extremely important. Normally, NPCs can only defend in melee combat if the GM spends one of those aforementioned, DM points. With this game, I'm going to allow for NPCs to defend using the same rules for the player characters. That is, if they have sufficient action points in that round to react, they can and will do so to preserve their own lives. Damage is applied through the damage rating on a weapon. If sufficient successes are rolled equal to the crit rating on that weapon, players and NPCs alike can then have a target roll for a critical hit. These often result in additional harm or conditions that will hamper the afflicted character. Armor and cover can be spent before or after a roll to gain an automatic success. This applies to skill rolls as well as combat rolls, including for when a character has to roll armor to soak damage. Karama replenishes every session, and every character starts a session with 3 points minimum. And it can be regained through dramatically appropriate actions, effective role-playing, and heroic sacrifice. So that wrapped up my short little, not really, introduction for the Coriolis system. Now we can get on to the story. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes. Also, you thinking that long is amusing.
Alright.
Right?
Awesome, thank you.
Having sat through Tyler's
Having
lectures.
sat through Mage the Ascension 20th anniversary.
Thank you, you're too kind.
2 sessions.
So we open on the grand scope of Castle Caladan as the sun dips below the watery horizons, plunging the surrounding orchards and the river into dark twilight. Inside the upstairs training rooms, steel clashes against steel. House Swordmaster Duncan Idaho faces off with another Swordmaster in practice. They're preparing for the crossing to Arrakis soon. Idaho wants to know that he can trust his fellow warrior with his life. Ozone fills the room as both Swordmasters begin their deadly dance on the polished floors of the training room. Their form-fitting personal shields, shimmering and occasionally flashing with a bluish light as they collide. Idaho moves with the graceful movements of a feline predator on the floor of the training room. His twin blades flash, catching the light of the surrounding glow globes. He twists, spins, thrusts his blades, and deftly moves aside, parrying most probing attacks not already deflected by shield. "You're telegraphing! Again," he says. His voice is somewhat suffused by the hot shield he has up. But he points to you, Aramis. He says, "Keep moving! Stop focusing on my hands! Focus instead on my feet. They'll tell you where I'm going next."
Alright, I will then. You want
Just
to
kind of twirls the
Let's do it.
blade. Yeah, you dive in forward, and he kind of like parries it. He sees where you're going. Let's see here. Give me 3 melee combat rolls.
Where are you?
Oh dang, that's 7. Nice. And click the little delayed roll portion there to see how many successes you got. 0!
Oh, God.
But on the last one you got 4. Okay, excellent. So Duncan tries to like lure you out, like he just, he talks some smack to you, and he tries to like raise the ire out of you, and you just like, oh yeah, okay. So you kind of go forward and you go back and forth with him. You're using just one katana to as your primary weapon.
Katana, yeah.
So you're going with one-handed blade, and he's playing Florentine with you. Like he just kind of like he kind of leads with one side of his body, and as you're coming in like hard, like fast on his shield, he just kind of takes it, backs up, and then he kind of ducks under and brings both blades up and puts them up to your neck, like, and he gets the blades like right within striking distance of your throat, and he's like, "Remember, fast on defense, slow on attack."
I'll remember.
And then just like
The
that,
next
like
time.
he's like, "All right, let's try again." And then like the last time, like the next time you actually like when you try it again, you come in and like you start paying attention to his footwork more, and that's when you start matching him side by side. When he moves in the next time, he tries to like spin and thrust, and you manage to like peg very quickly, and then bring the blade right to his neck, and you kind of step on the inside of his guard, and he's kind of like, "Oh, huh. better. But your techniques still needs a little work. Won't be a problem though." He's like, "I'm sure we'll get plenty of practice on Arrakis. I first blooded these beauties on Grumman," he kisses blades, "with Harkonnen and Mauritani blood. Did you know that?"
I do now.
"Well, that's enough practice for one night. We should probably..." And he kind of stops. He's like, kind of walks over to two large wooden doors on one end of the training room, and just adjacent, just on the other side of this room, is like a small study of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like, there's nobody there though. For some reason, he just kind of like heard or sensed something, and he's like, "Did you hear?" And he's like, he goes over to the door and he kind of pries it open a little bit. He kind of like stops to listen. It's pitch black in the room, and he's peering into this darkness, but he's not seeing anything. As you both kind of peer in to look, we now see a sort of shadowed figure in what seems to be the Duke's study room, rifling through field reports printed on Redulian crystal sheets regarding Arrakis, the Fremen, and the situation on the ground thus far. Upon closer inspection, this figure appears to be part of the household staff, responsible for cleaning and maintaining Castle Caliban. By most accounts, they appear to be tidying up around the room, though doing so in near-pitch blackness. In reality, however, they've been sent here to put their own names on the Atreides rosters for the advanced detachment headed to Arrakis in the upcoming week. Their mission is to gather information about what has occurred to the Bene Gesserit Reverend Mothers who vanished on Dune many years ago as part of the missionary Project Tiva initiative. As this is unfolding, however, a light comes on the other end of the room. Standing near a glow globe, illuminated ambient contrasting green light, is a red-dressed woman with copper-colored hair and light eyes. This is the Duke's bound concubine, the Lady Jessica herself. You seem to have missed a spot there, she says. This is quite the late hour to be tidying up. Are you here to fetch for the Duke? The housemaid stands up suddenly, stiffens, and turns to look. Lady Jessica sort of glides into the room, along with the glow globe floating next to her. She shoots a glance over to Idaho. He catches a glimpse of her, and you see something kind of fall over his face, more like a sneer or a glare out of his eyes. His expression sours. It's obvious to anybody watching him in this particular moment that he doesn't seem to particularly like the Lady Jessica. Nevertheless, he watches the exchange curiously, watching this thing play itself out. Jessica crosses to look closely at her contemporary and quickly realizes that they have an audience. So she throws a short glance to the Swordmaster, and this kind of causes him to shut the door and kind of shake his head, and it's like, all right, we're done for the night. Let's pack our things and start getting ready to go. Got a long trip to Arrakis, he says, and he kind of sheathes both his blades and starts walking off. We see Jessica crosses to the contemporary, and she quickly realizes with them that they have an audience. Aramis, as you're packing up your blades, see Idaho just kind of like lean back and just kind of door open again, just to watch and scrutinize what's going on. Through Idaho's eyes, we see that or he doesn't see he only sees the back of the housekeeper, but to the rest of us surveying this scene, Lady Jessica seems to start moving her hands in very subtle gestures, and the housekeeper, unbeknownst to Idaho or anybody else in the room with them, is also following suit. And what follows is this double communication that's occurring between the two women. They appear to be communicating with sort of battle language known as Shakopsa. Though the adept quickly picks up on the action, most are completely oblivious to the secret conversation they're having. If there's anything to be of assistance with, I would be glad to be of help, of course, Jessica offers. Her hands are actually saying, I know what you are. Your training is obvious to me, but others don't suspect. Why are you here now? The housekeeper says something to the effect of, well, I was here making sure that everything was in order, my lady. I wanted to make sure that the rosters were up to date. But her fingers flash back, and it's like, I'm on a specific mission for the sisterhood. It's like, they want me to find what happened to the Reverend Mothers, including that of Romallo. She says, forgive me for startling you. Jessica says, we can't be too careful these days with the Harkonnens, and now this business with Rakists. As the house administrator, I need to know where my people are at all times. And her fingers flash. Finding those lost sisters on Arrakis will be difficult. I will not stand in your way. Thank you, my lady. You're most kind. It is very late. I should probably be going. And she fingers back. It's like, I promise this, I will stay out of your way as well. Jessica puts on a fake smile and says, very well, no trouble at all then. Come on now, let's rejoin the others downstairs. There's more that needs doing before the crossing. And her fingers flashed. I will make sure that you're on the roster bound for Arrakeen. When you go back, tell them to stay away from my son. As the adept leaves the Duke's study and the sword masters finish their training, we settle on a door down the hall, the Duke's war room. Inside, Thufir Hawat is discussing security protocols with a group of engineers and spies alike. His walking stick rests along the side of a large, thick wooden strategy table with projector inserts for interior and exterior tactical planning. His red-stained lips can be seen through the stark lighting coming from the table surface. His expression is grim as ever, determined, His powerful frame holds onto the edges of the table as he addresses everyone present. Over 150 years old, Thufir Hawat is as sharp as ever with his analysis and logistical planning. The legendary Mentat explains that he will not be present for the initial wave of troubleshooters that will be sent to the residency at Arakin. We have a lot to do at the Arakin Palace residency. This place was recently infested with the Harkonnens and the Emperor's own errand boy, Count Hastamir Fenring. There's no doubt that our enemies have left surprises for us to find. We must do more than avoid traps here. We must seek them out and disassemble them with the utmost of haste. Remember that we are on a tight timetable at this moment. The Duke and his family are expected to enter and reside in the palace within the week. This is not sufficient time to root out every Harkonnen sleeper agent or cell that is operating in the city. Nevertheless, we have to remain vigilant and perform the necessary interviews on the ground for the palace staff. I was not satisfied with the initial pass that was done by the first company. Please find the time to remedy this possible oversight. Leave no stone unturned. Work with the support staff on site. With enough diligence, we'll get it done. The silent nod. The mirthless Mentat dismisses most everyone there, but not all in the present company. He comes up to you, Rune. He puts his hand on your shoulder. I understand you will be traveling ahead with Idaho and his troop. This is a special assignment you've been given by the Duke to establish contact with the Fremen. It is vital that we succeed in assessing their numbers and capabilities. We need allies on Arrakis. And if the Fremen can be that for us, then we need to pursue an alliance at any cost. Lend your Mentat conditioning to this effort and perhaps we may yet be successful in this venture. One last point. There will be a go-between us and the Fremen. A liaison of sorts. I understand this is some smuggler, spice miner of some repute. Be wary of that one, and report any untoward activity directly to Idaho. I will be in contact as soon as I arrive on Arrakis with my battalion. Good journey. Any questions?
No. I have calculated an 89% probability that if we do not get the Fremen on our side as allies, the Duke's empire will fall, and he's given up his entire world for this, so I will not allow that to happen.
Excellent projections as usual. Good journey, my friend. He taps you on the shoulder, and with that, he kind of grabs his walking sticks and he starts ambling out of the instruction room, out of the war room. Let's see. As the group of the troubleshooters and the technicians and the engineers, as they start like trickling out of the war room with Thufir in tow, we pass by a foyer where the soft sounds of a balisette being tuned can be heard. A door shuts nearby and two voices can be heard conversing inside. We see the Duke Leto Atreides himself standing with his back to the door, staring out a portal window. He watches the waves crash on the rocks below, thunder and rain banging against that window from fomenting an ominous and foul weather brewing outside. He notices the entry of a fellow nobleman and turns to regard them as they enter. Ah, you're here. I appreciate the prompt response from House Demios. It's a very chaotic time right now, and I understand that what I'm asking for is a lot. This means a lot to me and my family. You would answer my summons like this. Obviously, the Emperor wants us on Arrakis to replace our Conans. This is a tremendous opportunity, not just for our house, but for yours as well. It's also an enormous risk, however. I don't have to tell you that the Emperor's generosity comes with something attached. Thufir suspects treachery, and I, for one, would not be surprised. We have our new army, and I have plans of my own. For example, while the Harkonnens have been mining the spice on Arrakis for decades, the Baron has been skimming profits from the Emperor. He's been bribing the guild and paying for smugglers to send a lot of that spice to Gidi Prime. I've taken steps to exploit this little secret of his soon enough, but in the meantime, there are tremendous amounts of spice sitting in secured warehouses all over the Imperial Basin. According to the reports that the Emperor never reads from his own ecologist, there are dozens or even more of these locations all over Dune. I want to know where they are and what they have inside them. The Harkonnens are abandoning a lot of the spice mining equipment, and from what little Thufir has been able to compile, a lot of it was probably misused and damaged. If there's any chance we can secure any equipment from these Imperial outposts, we should take them. I'm sure the judge of the change for the Coriolis kinds will have knowledge of these locations, but I don't want to tip them off to the fact that we're looking for them. So if you come across into any information about the whereabouts, be sure to pass it along to Duncan and the senior staff. I'll be arriving within a week with the rest of the house personnel, and I expect some kind of results from this trip. Arrakis is a dangerous place, and we're entering a very dangerous time. But I have faith that both of our houses can come out of this better than when we came into it. Who knows, by the time this whole thing is over, maybe House Atreides might be coming to you for aid, for a change. You're up for a challenge, and with Duncan leading the charge, I know you'll be in good hands. You see, the guy he's talking to is this guy, this tall dude, long mustache, sort of, close cropped hair, close to his shoulders, by the name of Abelard Montrose. He's very much a nobleman in that sense, that he has like his own house uniform with insignia. House Demios being a minor ally house to House Atreides right here on Caladan. He nods and he's like, House Demios is more than up to the task, my dear Duke. He's like, rest assured, he's like, our house sends its regards, and my personal entourage will accompany yours onto the planet's surface, and we'll make sure that everything will be in good standing by the time you and your family arrive. Kind of thanks him, gives him a wink, and taps him on. He shakes his hand, and with that, he clicks his heels together and turns swiftly and starts marching out of the Duke's personal office. As the nobleman leaves, the Duke turns his back to stare out the window again. When next he speaks, it is to the figure hidden in the shadows at the rear of the chamber. You can come out now. I'm sure our guests didn't even realize you were present. In fact, you were so quiet I almost forgot you were here at all. He turns around and he stands by his desk and he sort of casually sits on its surface. He starts pick something up and starts coring an apple. I don't like ordering anyone's death, but you understand that this is Canley. Vendetta in the ancient tongue. Our Conans will not leave Dune quietly, that I can assure you. Like any sane person, I'm nervous about the safety of my family. Thufir estimates there are roughly 200 cells of Harkonnens in the city of Arrakeen alone, with each cell typically numbering between 6 to 10 people. It's a lot of Harkonnen agents that want us dead. They only know how to speak one language, and that's violence. And I understand you're quite fluent. There's an old Earth adage that says that if you want to catch a thief, you need to employ one. I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, but I need your talents to catch similarly talented killers and spies lurking in and around the residency on Arrakeen. Also, we're worried that our enemies are going to try their best to sabotage our efforts in establishing a rapport with the indigenous people on Dune, the Fremen. With assassins and traps lurking around every corner, we need someone who knows to think like the enemy in order to stop the enemy. Thufir is our master of assassins here, so when I asked him for one of his best, he sent me you. So I trust you will have very little trouble doing what you do well on Arrakis. You're being embedded with Duncan's entourage, and are going to be spending plenty of time at the palace, so you'll likely be pulling double duty with Hawat's people, scouring the area for signs of treachery. Just keep focused on the mission at hand and try to coming back to us as safely as possible, he says. you say anything in response, or do you quietly make your way out? And do you kind of like just quietly nod and leave, or do you have anything to say to the Duke?
I step forward and wear my one glove with a little piece of cloth in it and just kind of... Duke? And just...
Message received. Yeah, a man of little words. He knows how you operate. Let's see here.
But I'm thinking double duty, double the opportunities to use my skills.
Yes, indeed. As the house assassin leaves the dark interiors of the Duke's office, we follow behind them for a moment and turn at the next intersection, heading to a large hallway that smells of formaldehyde and other chemicals. We arrive at what appears to be a large, dimly lit laboratory in the military wing of the castle. Here, Dr. Wellington Yui appears to be studying and dissecting a corpse. With him is another Suk practitioner, observing a master at work. While he administers cutting open a sternum with a cutter ray, he engages his protege with trivia. The sandworms on Dune have been recorded being as long as 400 meters. Rumors persist of bigger specimens in the deep desert to the south. Of course, we will be very far away from such things in Arrakeen. Have you spent any time reading about the inhabitants on Arrakis? He's like, well, many of the locals there have blue within blue eyes. Addiction to the spice melange. A painful life to live, don't you think? Being stuck in a place where it's constantly at 350 degrees, no rain, giant sandworms. And then to top it off, you're addicted to the most treasured thing in the universe, so you can't leave. You're trapped. Trapped with no other way out. Withdrawals from the spice addiction can cause death. Believe it or not, the spice and the worms are the least dangerous things you'll need to worry about on Arrakis, however. Obviously, of more pressing concerns are our enemies, the Harkonnens. Do you see this? Kind of lets you lean over his shoulder, Dr. Brock. He pauses. He shows you the cadaver that's on the table. He was preparing to cut him open, like at the sternum, but he kind of stopped. And he's like, "Do you notice anything about this corpse? There doesn't appear to be anything on him. You can roll Metacurg, however, to see if you could determine or observation, whichever is best for you, to see if you could determine cause of death."
Okay. I got a 8.
You got an 8. Nice. Oh wait, no, that's your dice pool. Click the delayed roll thing next to that and see if you got any successes. That's a hell of a dice pool, though.
2.
You got 2. Fantastic. Yeah, you got it. So you're like poison because you're looking at him and there's not anything on him. No visible signs of strangulation. No contusions. Nothing of the sort.
Wow.
You're like, oh, he was poisoned, and he's like, absolutely right. He's like, this one was shipped in from House Spiridon, an ally house minor here on Caladan. Harkonnen treachery through and through. Not a mark on them, right? That's because there was no puncture wound, no obvious injury of any kind. This was a renowned swordmaster recruit we had just received back from training on Ganaz. They should have been training with Duncan right now, had they not fallen into a clever trap placed by the Harkonnen agents. When the young swordmaster was attempting to access his room after training, he failed to check the palm lock on the door. If he had, he would have noticed the poison that was laced there. It was immediately, and he kind of picks up his hand. He shows you like these weird marks, like that had left like a residue on it. It was immediately absorbed into the skin, and then into their nervous system. Once inside the body, it began duplicating itself. Within a few hours, the victim became feverish, and the poison began to seep from his pores. Others were affected as well. He kind of points off to the side, and you see there are other unexamined bodies in aluminum-style wrapping. You see how they operate. They waited for our recruit to come back from training before killing them. This way, they hit us twice, depleting our resources and our personnel. Thufir was furious when he found out about the lapse in security, as you can probably imagine. If we are to succeed on Arrakis, we have to remain vigilant and be proactive in our mission to preserve life, even in the case of our enemy. A dead Harkonnen may be what most here would wish for, but an enemy who can still breathe is also an enemy who can talk. Even the dead can teach us something, and what they know can make all of the difference.
Very intelligent.
And he smiles and he's like, "No, I may need your help with this one." And kind of he pushes the dispenser gurney out of the way, and he pulls another one in, and he's like, "This is a mess." He kind of opens it up, and he like, "Hand me that cutter, Ray." And he, like, you guys start, going through like some more gruesome details as far as I'm concerned.
He puts his like
All
goggles down. He's like, "Yes, yep."
Oh yeah. Very good, very good. So now it's now that we've finished with that, we can proceed and sort of fast forward onto the next portion of our tale, where within a week's time, you spend some time in Castle Caladan preparing and getting everything ready, and then the time arrives when you finally depart with the advanced detachment to the planet Arrakis. The Guild Highliner and the travel to space is what most people have never even seen before. If any of you have not made your home here on Caladan, you've probably traveled at least once in your time, although traveling is very, very expensive, especially if you're going from one system to the other. The Guild control all of this, so it requires a tremendous amount of resources to get from one place to the other. And it's not instantaneous, as some people might think. It often takes several days. For you guys, it's going to take about 3 days, a standard, to go from Caladan to Arrakis. This is mainly because on the route that the Highliner will take, they're going to take several stops along the way, which with every stop, it's about a day's time. So you have some time between Caladan and where you're going to, either stay on the Highliner or depart and then come back on before it's due to depart again.
Oh.
Obviously, the customs in this is very strict, but as long as you maintain your paperwork and everything is in order, Guild doesn't care, But obviously, they will check on you as you're boarding, the specific rooms assigned to House Atreides for that particular. They all maintain something called the Guild Peace. Right. Or basically, you can have Atreides and Harkonnen on the same Highliner. They may never even know that each other are on board, right. And that's kind of the point, is to kind of keep everything neutral. So throughout the time you spend on the Highliner, you can use this opportunity, as you guys are sort of in the same sort of enclosement with one another, to determine who is going to be your buddy. If you look on your character sheets, you have relationship options for all the other player characters. You have Jared, who's playing the Sook Doctor for House Demios. You've got Tim, who's playing the Swordmaster Aramis for House Spiridon, the one who actually made it. You've got Tyler, who is playing the Mentat, whose name eludes me at the moment. Tal Hayed, and for House Atreides. And then you have the one character who's probably sort of an enigma to some of you, if not, but although Tyler's character probably knows exactly who you are, is Steve's character of, is it Jamie or Jamie?
Jamie.
Yeah, some of you know who Jamie is, and that he is in fact the House Assassin. He actually dresses like I would imagine he dresses like a nobleman would in these times, like very sort of like billowy shirts and high leather boots and stuff. So he very much looks to be part of an entourage, but he is most definitely one of the most dangerous people in your current group. And along with him and your entourage is about 20 troopers. 20 standard Atreides soldiers, essentially, that will be on your beck and call to do whatever you need them to do, essentially. Most of the time, they're going to be escorting you from place to place, and a lot of the time, they're going to be at the residency, unless you specifically tell them, like, how I need, 3 troopers with me on an ornithopter or something like that. You can designate what sort of relationship you guys each have to one another, and you can designate one of them as your sort of quote-unquote buddy. Basically, this is, regardless of however you feel about them, like, this is somebody that you can confide in, that you'd be going to and say, hey, you know what, I think so-and-so's kind of fishy or whatever. In addition to the people that you have here is one particular Atreides trooper that is outfitted in, like, this armor, a little bit unassuming. This young woman, hair is very neatly tied back, and they have like this sort of no-nonsense look on their face. You know her as Mona Lux. That's all you know her as. Mona, for short. And she seems to be spending quite a bit of time with the other one that's part of your large entourage going to Arrakis, a nobleman that belongs to House Demios by the name of Abelard Montrose. This is the guy we saw in the little intro where he was talking with Duke Leto about the situation on Arrakis. You see, Abelard is very much the foppish nobleman, as it were. Although he does have a sort of commanding voice, and he's just sort of like, anytime you see him, he's with like his immediate 3 or 4 entourage people, and he's just sort of telling them a story or something, like while he's sitting on a crate or something like that in the hold, and he's just kind of like, talking and schmoozing around. But the one, Mona in particular, is always to be found nearby, like in a corner or something like that, arms folded, weapons at the ready, just sort of like surveying the area and very scrutinizing very minutely every person in the room. You can do with that as you will. See, at some point...
So I, for one, look at the Mona and just be like, do not like being judged.
You think I am judging you?
Stand in the corner with your arms folded, watching us.
I was put on sentry duty. That is, I'm doing what I was told by my Duke to do. I am to guard your entourage, as it were.
Of course.
If you feel that you're being judged, perhaps is there something that you are afraid of, other than the trip itself?
There are many things to be afraid of. Fear's a iffy thing, but keeps us on our toes. Go ahead, stand your watch, stand your sentry in this most dangerous of places.
She just kind of blinks and looks at you, and then just kind of like continues surveying the room. She's looking at everybody, not just you specifically, but
I find you rather interesting, if you ask me. I do.
Who do you say that to? The Mona or the...
Mona.
She seems kind of like in the center of attention now. She's got 2 people talking to her, and she's just like, she kind of puts her hands behind her back, and so just sort of stands there and looks and is like, oh, what exactly is interesting about me, Doctor? She says as she looks at your diamond black tattoo on your forehead, indicating the Imperial conditioning.
I don't know, it's just the opposition of the opposite sex has always kind of intrigued me, I could say. I find them very flattering, I guess.
I don't know whether to be objectified or to be flattered.
And then what she does, he puts down his goggles and he like makes the optical on his eye and he goes like this, like straight.
Doctor, if you please, I'm not one of your specimens.
Well, if you say so. And he just kind of nitpicks and just pokes her and stuff like that.
He's just like,
He's
odd
got no
one.
personal space.
Oh, very good specimen, yes! Aramis and Tawhiyed, you're seeing this play out in the confines of the large space that is afforded to House Atreides in the hold of the Guild Highliner. It's very much posh looking, like plush carpets and nice paintings and murals on the walls and stuff. It looks like you're entering into like the personal keep of a count or the emperor himself on Kaitane. That's very, very well suited for a great house such as House Atreides.
All right.
I'm standing staring out a bay window into space with my hands behind my back. Haven't said anything the whole time. Then I'm like, I miss the oceans of Caladan already. They'd be very dry on Arrakis, wouldn't you say, assassin? And I turn and look at Steve's character.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna find. He kind of goes up there and he kind of gets him and he wants to poke him in the face. He's like, "Sir, why are you staring out into nothing?"
I look at you like you're simple and arch an eyebrow. Out there is everything.
I really don't understand you. You're weird.
I'm just gonna
like uncomfortably walks away like.
I turn towards Tim's character. Curious they would send you. Your stance says you are not one of Idaho's top. Perhaps he has high hopes for you. I turn back to the assassin.
Once again.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
Oh no.
All of my attention is on. What's your first name again?
Jamie.
Jamie. Easiest ones are the hardest to remember.
Right. I wipe away a little bit of a few beads of sweat and I go, interesting. Dry enough that this will run out quite soon, I imagine.
Yes. I understand wiping your sweat into a rag and not pouring it into a basin on Arrakis is offensive to the locals. Fascinating culture.
Very indeed.
Oh, you're not a very nice person, are you?
Have to learn more about that. I imagine many things are being done to seek the assistance of locals.
Yes. I turn to the doctor. What makes you think any of my comments have anything to do with politeness or rudeness? I'm merely observant. He is the assassin. It is clear that what his role is in this group. In fact, he's probably the one that will keep all of us alive. You should stay close to him.
I don't know.
You would lose in a fight.
I enjoy the mentality.
Look you up and down, not even armed. I look at the sword master, and I say, just because I said you're not one of his best doesn't mean you're one of his worst.
Well,
Most of us are simply average.
that may be true, but see here, you also have a guy with a big sword over there too, so he's not the only person. Plus, sometimes being smart is a lot better than brawn.
Oh, I know. I'm the smartest person in this room. I'm sorry, Jamie, you were saying?
I was merely pointing out that I enjoy the Mentat's analysis
Walked
and
away.
intelligence, as you put
Thank
it.
you.
As mentioned, I may be physically capable, but one must know where to put the blade to properly do the correct damage, and I just look at you, ahead. I think we can be of assistance to each other, most likely. I'll make sure you stay alive the longest.
I nod. We both
see,
almost, but not quite smile.
I could tell.
Go ahead.
He goes on. He's like, I'm I'm very fluent in body and anatomy, so I can tell you 12 different ways to kill a person, so you don't see me as useful? Okay.
Again, no one said you were not useful. You make a lot of assumptions, don't you?
I do, and usually they're correct.
Seems unlikely. 13% probability that most of your assumptions are correct.
Well, it's okay. I go up to the sword master and I'm like, or Artemis, and I go like, what brings you here?
Duty.
Duty? That's all you got.
I'm just gonna sit right down and pull out, after I say that, and just unsheath the katana and just start to wipe it clean. Make sure it's nice and ready.
You know, you don't have to do that, right? Everywhere.
On the contrary.
Everyone here has a personal life. I'm going for specimens of any sort to learn more knowledge, obviously.
Well, you do.
Unless
that.
you're just here to kill things.
That is exactly what I'm here to do.
Well, okay.
Kill and protect these other guys.
Well, and that.
The door is sort of open
well-
to this large area. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
I was just gonna say, I look at all the four of you and I say, besides, the four of us, no matter what we think of each other, at least we know the four of us can be trustworthy to each other in this band. I look towards Devin's character, unlike some others in this room. Then I turn away.
And when he
You go to
says
look
that,
at her. Give me an observation check, all of you.
I was just gonna say when he says that, I steal a glance at it as well.
You guys
Is
are
it observation? Oh.
Yeah, observation.
I have a mechanics question before we move on, though.
Sure.
This is gonna go
Finish
completely.
this. Yeah, we'll finish up this roll first.
Oh, wow. Okay, never mind.
7 dice for observation. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Okay, never mind.
Well, no, remember to always.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yep, there we go.
None.
You wanna go, Steve? You want me to go?
Are we all rolling observation?
Yes, all of
Two
you.
of them
sorry,
did,
sorry,
just me
sorry.
and you left.
Okay, then yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Ouch.
Eight, holy crap.
Ow.
None of you. Oh,
Oh
Stoli?
my God. Nobody.
You go to look, and you're like, oh, I'm like some, and you're like, she's not even there anymore. And the doctor looks, and at first glance, like on the first pass, you don't see him, you don't see her either, Dr. Brock. But then, like, you put down your goggles and you kind of like adjust some of the settings on it, and you're like, oh, she's
okay.
on the other side of the room, in the corner, in the dark, just like fixated. And you notice that she's not necessarily fixated on you or any of these other people. Even now, as the doors are opening and Duncan Idaho himself is walking into the room, she seems to be focused on Mentat.
Oh boy.
Wow. That's quite interesting. See, you are fascinating me all the time. You are just a fascinating person. And he looks over to her.
She's surprised that you notice her, and she immediately like ducks out of the side, and like the door's open, and she disappears around the corner.
See, I
Idaho
told you.
walks in and is like, "My boys!" And he kind of goes over and he puts his arm around Aramis, and he goes to like put his arm around the Mentat. He's like, "Ah." Join the view, he says. He claps you on the back.
Could be better.
Sorry, before we get into the next scene, quick question. So, you had mentioned armor, and while we're
Yes.
on this ship and kind of to our left our devices, is there any place where I might be able to spend some of my starting wealth to procure some armor that didn't come in my character creation?
Yes. I did. That was actually kind of on purpose because as an assassin, you can blend in anywhere.
Okay.
So if like you could just get lost in a crowd, it's like, where'd that guy with the poison dagger go? I don't know. Look, he looks like anybody else here.
Okay.
Whereas these guys are up and walking around with armor and shit like that and house uniforms, not so much with the assassin.
Okay. All right. No problem.
But you can't.
I'm mildly
You
obvious.
can't purchase protective clothing, which it doesn't give you 3 armor, but it gives you at least 2.
That's what I was hoping to get, was the protective clothing.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So I can get 2 armor.
Yeah, Chom is the big conglomerate super corporation in this universe, and they basically, you don't sell or produce anything in the universe without their approval, and they're cahoots with the guild, very much so. Without one or the other, like they all kind of fall apart. So you can go outside. You can go into there are vendors set up all over the Highliner for whatever. There are people coming in from all sorts of different worlds as they're making their stops. So you can purchase whatever you like, and this stuff will not only stop a knife, it'll stop projectiles as well. It's like super Kevlar in the future.
Okay.
Most house uniforms are made from that same weave as well, so yeah, you'll have at least some protection
I
going
just wanted
forward.
a little
And it'll
tiny-
just be normal looking clothing,
Yeah, I just wanted to look like my normal clothes, but have the tiniest little bit of armor in it at least.
No, I understand. Perfectly understood.
Okay, cool.
Idaho just makes idle chit chat with you guys as he's making his rounds around the concourse here before retiring to the quarters for the next leg of the trip. In the next couple days, unless he wanted to do something else, I'll just fast forward and get to the point where we actually arrive on Arrakis.
I'm good.
Okay.
I just do,
Yes. I need
Yes.
to hear Duncan Idaho say, "My man."
That's my man.
Thank you. No, I'm good.
Back.
You're welcome, Sean.
You're welcome.
I did just want to specify, for anyone watching, how the buddies played out in that. Do we want to vocalize who our buddy is? Or is that
Oh
not-
yeah, you
or-
may want
or-
to
or is that not
tell
supposed
each
to
other
know?
who your buddies are.
Oh no, you have an assistant.
I got a critter. Yeah.
So I went with Tahir.
Same.
Who did you go with? Oh, you went. Okay, so yeah, you guys are both buddies. That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Did either of you guys choose me?
May.
I chose
chose
Aramis.
Ah!
Oh,
Okay.
Swordmaster.
Whoa!
Oh man.
that
Gotta get it
legends.
real quick.
You just role play with each other for a second as you guys are arriving to the planet Arrakis. You see everybody starts to sort of depart, and they start getting your shuttle ready, and everybody's there with you except for the trooper girl that was scrutinizing you guys.
The sister of
in
battle.
Yes, the sisterhood of battle, exactly. But you guys are there on the landing area where the shuttle's being loaded. Go ahead and I'll just set that scene. You guys can riff off of that for a second.
Just, the thing opens up, and I just step out immediately, like, oh my god! Just the sun's beating down. And,
Wow.
I look back to the Mentat. This planet immediately is distasteful.
Wow. The sun is
It is
definitely
very
way-
warm and bright. Cinnamon. That must be the spice.
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon. You don't say much, do you?
You should be careful speaking to that one also, Dr. Brock. I say, indicating our missing companion. She whispers into your ear and you'll be forced to do what she says. Just a warning.
I wouldn't doubt it. To be honest with you, the way she looks, she can make me do anything she wants. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hand on shoulder. Actual smile. That's not going to happen.
Oh,
Oh.
doctor. Oh, wow.
You seem to know very little about the Bene Gesserit.
Oh.
you may be right. That's why I find her so fascinating.
My
Good
my
luck.
poor fellow.
Just look at just look at sorry.
Rune, that's the
Tahir.
easy way to remember it.
Rune. Yeah, I'll just look to Rune, just be like, this. How has he survived this long?
Very carefully. So he comes out and he's like, well, the sun is definitely way brighter here than anywhere else in the galaxy. I've noticed. So it's going to be a hot one. Definitely going to be a scorcher.
And,
I look around at Arrakis. I look at Aramis. I look at Jamie. And I just shake my head at both of them and exit.
Right?
It's gonna be a hot one.
Gonna be a scorcher.
Oh, it hurts already.
Oh god.
As everybody's getting loaded onto the shuttle, you see one of the guild reps, pale, bald-looking guy with like stuff sticking out of his head, and looks like he's wearing like a body bag for clothes, and he kind of speaks into like a little speaker. And out of the other end of the speaker, it's like, "You're clear to go. You may disembark now for the planet Arrakis." And you see like the docking clamps like retract, and you hear like a hissing sound as the shuttles starts to disengage from the Highlander. Massive doors open up, start gliding out, and you're just sitting as the pilots take control, and like they basically send you down into the planet proper. And eventually, like you see as you're getting closer, you see this massive city sprawl out as you're entering into Arrakis. It's the whole place. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's just like this orange sky. And the moment the shuttle lands in a very large starport sort of landing strip in the city of Arrakeen, as you're landing, you see the large palace residency that exists there, and like the other buildings behind it. Just kind of like take your breath away for a moment. Just the sheer scope. It's not a very big planet by most standards, but yes, you could feel the heat as you're getting closer to the landing pad. And then finally, when the doors open, it's like somebody kicks you in the face. Like it's just like the heat is absolutely oppressive the moment you exit the shuttle. You see the first group of people to leave are actually a retinue of Atreides soldiers that you brought with you. The 20-something soldiers, they ferret out first. Somewhere in there, you think you see that woman that you saw before in the foyer, and they just kind of pass in a blur, and they take positions on the landing field. And you see standing there is like the grubbiest, as you guys are exiting, and Idaho gets on the steps and he looks around like, ugh! He kind of goes down the steps as you individually leave the shuttlecraft in these large fold-down steps. You see there's this grubbiest looking guy you've ever come across. He's definitely dressed for the part, whoever this guy is, but everything about this guy screams, I'm a pirate. I'm a dirty spice pirate. He's got like soot and dirt in his long hair. He's got an eye patch. He seems to have some weird clothing on that's like dust riddled.
Still suit.
And he's sporting what seems to be a very long rifle. Doesn't look like a las gun of any sort. Nothing you've seen before. Possibly something ancient. You're not sure. It's very, very odd. But he kind of looks like this guy. I don't know if you could see him in the handouts section. Otherwise, I can share with you what he looks like in the for the viewers. Otherwise, I could show you what they look like in the Discord. Put that down in there for you guys if you need to see it.
Think the handouts are working?
I'm not able to see any handouts.
Shared with
That's
players.
unfortunate. I
about
make
now?
sure that I shared it with players.
What about now?
How do I see the handouts? Well, I can see it in Discord, but
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, under the globe, it's like a stack of books. That's where the handouts are. Of Astral. Above the sword.
above the
What?
sword.
What?
Yeah, on the left hand side, there's those little icons. There's the sword, that's the initiative tracker. The one above that is documents and handouts. If you click that, there should be some handouts, or just one perhaps, of what I wanted to show you. Oh,
You
actually,
might not see this. Wow, that's completely not the right picture. You might not see the sword, but it should look something like this.
Okay, so it is in the character queue.
No, I don't have that on my screen.
Nope, I don't have that either.
It's weird. Okay.
Nope, that's okay.
No worries.
But I can see it in Discord, so yeah, he looks dope as hell.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's who you see at the end of the sort of the airstrip.
Oh,
He
dope.
seems to be, yeah, he seems to be waving like, just really out of place. And like you see the Atreides guards are just kind of like taking positions nearby, and Idaho's like, oh, I think this is the guy. Yeah, you're the guy, right?
You're the guy.
You're the guy. You're totally the dude.
Oh, Duncan.
I'm so interested in this guy. Why?
He's like, the nobleman's like, yes, I believe this is in fact the guy we're supposed to be meeting here. Hello, good sir. How are you? It is quite deliriously hot out here, he says, and he's like walking. This is Abelard, and he's like, yes, hello. I have arrived, he says. I suppose you are our guide. And you see, he kind of steps over, and he's like, welcome to Arrakis, all. I got a ground car over here waiting for you, just down the ramp. Watch your step. If you're finding the climate unbelievably hot at the moment, don't worry, it gets worse. He says, and he like pulls up
That's
like a
outstanding. Now.
canteen.
Just
Of course, the smuggler is Australian.
probably.
I was just thinking
right.
that.
Probably immediately
planned-
now, just like pouring sweat as you do on Arrakis, and just like wiping. Oh my good God, you.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
Just look. They just
He
look
get-
at
he
this
pulls
guy.
out a-
And just like just everything about you. My God.
He pulls
I'm
out a
waiting for him
canteen,
to
he
pull
takes
out a
swig.
barbecue or something.
Pull out a barbecue, yeah. Anybody who's nearby him, you kind of get a whiff of like cinnamon for a second, and he kind of stoppers the canteen. Like, name's Marcus Iblis. I'll be your guide here on Dune. Anywhere you need to go, I can fly you there. I've been here for years, as you can probably tell. And he kind of like goes like this, and you can, as you peer into him, like you see like he's got blue within blue eyes, like the locals do here in the Fremen, as you've been told. Flew plenty of thopters and made plenty of friends here in the cities, even in the deep desert. Probably why your Duke decided to pay for my services. A wise investment, if I may say so. He makes his way to what seems to be a large ground car. But this is like, as far as you can tell, you're not sure. It doesn't even have suspensors built into them, like most standard vehicles do in this universe, in this timeline. It actually operates on rubber wheels and so on. So you're just kind of like, what kind of jacked ride is this? I thought we were expecting like a special retinue or whatever, you know, and here comes One-Eyed Jack. Marcus invites you guys to board the ground car, and you see Avalon is like, excuse me, I think there must be some mistake. We're supposed to be getting inside of a transport, yes, to the residency? And he's like, that's what this is! Yeah, it's the ground car, I could drive it, if you like.
May I drive?
Oh, well, I guess so, yeah. I don't mind if you drive as long as I can drink.
Excellent.
He goes and
Cracks
gets,
knuckles.
he gets on the other side. And he opens up the other doors on the ground car, like almost as like a faux chauffeur or whatever, like letting you inside, take a seat. And but he sits up front and he puts his dirty boots on the dashboard, like sand is just coming off of them and shit. He has like this torn up cape that he like wears like around his shoulders, like a sort of a mantle, and like a weird nobleman of some sort. He puts his feet up on the dashboard and it's like, straight down that way, you want to turn left at the market and head straight away down the main avenue. It's going to be right there on your right. Can't miss it.
I
It
examine the
appears our chances
vehicle,
of
and you
survival
can
are
almost
already
hear the
gone up.
computer crunching sound effects, and then I nod once and go, right, and take off like I've been driving this thing for 20 years.
Yeah, you're just like, okay. No problems.
Is this like
what's-
like an open
Yes, open canopy. Yes.
So I'm just like, oh,
You're just
trying to,
getting
like,
dust all in your
dust
face.
all in my face, and I'm just like, oh, jeez.
Oh, is that bothering you? We'll hit the canopy for you if that's all right. He kind of reaches over, click,
No.
and like the sides just kind of go.
Of course, why would
It's
I
like a
want a canopy on a planet filled with dust and sand while we move at high speeds? My God.
Oh, you'll get used to it. Don't worry, mate. Says he looks out the window. As he's looking out the window, as any of you look out the windows, it's just the majority of you guys. Idaho's still back at the landing strip with the rest of the troopers. You see that there's other like suspensor cars that are like group vehicles that are following in behind you.
As
and
I
you're
look
just
out
like,
the window, look, sand, more sand. To our left, sand.
Were you
See-
expecting something else?
you see a lot of people here, like lining the gates and the fences, like looking into the starport, into the landing strip where you guys got off, and they're all kind of like clambering over each other to snatch a glimpse of something. But they seem somewhat disappointed when you guys come out. As you hear them yell something at the car as you're passing by, but you can't make out what it is exactly. You're not sure what they're talking about. You figure that they're just talking in their own language, because you've never heard anything like that before. Or at least not at, passing by. It doesn't ring any bells or anything like that. Unless anyone wants to pay particular attention to what's going on outside the car, though, the Mentat is driving you guys directly to the residency, and you guys see it coming up in the distance.
I mean, I joke and I make it's hot and sandy and all that stuff, but I obviously know the importance of Arrakis. Everyone's aware of what Arrakis is and what it provides and what's in that sand. So I would simultaneously be actively trying to listen and pay attention or notice anything that I can, especially with what was said earlier with... You said that there was a breach of security already, correct?
Who are you asking?
You, like, just to clarify.
Oh, yes.
So we're here...
Yeah, you would probably know that being from Hawat's side of things. Yeah, he was pretty pissed about the previous Swordmaster having murdered after the training.
Right.
Yeah, there's already been lapses in security, and he's like, and he wants to double vet the people that are at the residency who work there, the skeleton crew, as it were, because he doesn't. He's like, I don't know about the initial report these guys passed on. I want a more thorough investigation, if possible.
Yeah. So I would like to try to observe the people who are watching us, doing all of those things.
Sure. You don't have to make an observation roll or anything like that. You just kind of listen, look at the people, and you lower the window, and you see the glass pane just kind of and falls, and it just like jangles in the doorway after that. But you hear people like say something like "Madi, Madi," and like they don't seem to be saying that to your vehicle. They seem to be saying that to Idaho's vehicle. They're like "Madi, Madi," and like. And as soon as they get a glimpse of the people that are on the entourage, they're just kind of like, they shut up for a moment, and they just kind of like they seem to be dispersing some of them. As soon as it's clear that no one else is dismounting from the shuttle.
Huh.
Seems like a Fremen word. I wonder what it means.
Interesting.
Maybe it means big jovial man. Since they're yelling at Idaho.
Big jovial man. 100%. Yes.
That seems like the likely answer.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you guys are
It's the Fremen
on their
word
way
for
to
Santa Claus.
you guys are on your way to the residency, and you see Iblis starts talking in between sips of whatever is sloshing around in his canteen. He's like, yeah, this is like an old storybook. You know the type. In ancient times, they used to draw things around the edges of the maps, Old navigators used to conjure up images of creatures like dragons and the like. Well, let me tell you, the stories you've probably heard about this place are absolutely true. There be dragons here, and their treasure, well, I'm sure you already know what that is. Real question is, though, the real question you want to ask yourself is it worth it?
I look
on
over
the
at
side
him.
of the
And I look at his canteen and I say, "Is it?" And I take my hand and put it towards him.
Oh, you like take a whiff, or you try to?
Let's
take a
find
bite?
out. I'm gonna swallow some.
Oh damn!
Oh. Oh.
Okay. You just take a small sip.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
We are all gonna.
We
Okay.
are
Uh,
90 minutes into game 1, and Tyler is chugging Mirage.
I'm not chugging it, but I'm also not taking a sip. Just a normal swallow.
make a Mystic's power roll. Add
And your
3
hit
successes
experience.
to it. I mean, do you try to like take it away from him and like sit there and chug the whole thing?
Oh no, I was hoping he'd let me take a drink.
Just,
Oh, he's
just
like,
a,
"Oh, yeah,
a
sure,
healthy
go ahead."
swallow, like a healthy swig.
Whoops.
Oh, a healthy swig? Okay, sure. Just give yourself 1 automatic success, but just roll Mystic powers. See what you get.
Two successes.
You get 3 successes. That's a critical success.
Oh, 2 with the automatic. I apologize. 2 total.
Oh, 2 total. Okay, got it. All right, that's pretty good. Not a critical success, but that's a pretty decent success. All right, so what are you thinking about specifically, like going into Eric?
That word.
Like, Madi?
Yeah.
You see the portrait for a second. You see the portrait of the Atreides family. You see Duke Leto, dark skin, beard. The uniform, the red hawk crest on his uniform. He's holding like a pug or whatever. And then next to him is the Lady Jessica with her bronze hair tied up. And in the foreground you have their son Paul and stuff. And like you see the face of for a moment you see the face of Duke Leto, just kind of like the paint on the painting is melting, and there seems to be like fire burning in the center of the son Paul, as like the Atreides portrait is like it's this fire starting to spread and overtake the rest of the portrait. And for a second, like as you like zoom into the hole that it's boring into the painting, you see stars and worlds, and the fire is starting to spread into other worlds as well. And you kind of step out of it for a second. You're like, you were for a moment. It was kind of like had this real big dose of like something at the same time that you were in the Mentat trance, and it just kind of something clicked off. It lasted for all of like a second, and you kind of like had to like the car just kind of slowed down for a second, and it's like, oh. You can handle it, mate.
I
That
hand
was
it back.
quite a big swig.
I hand it back and say, yes, it's worth it.
Damn right it is. Very insightful, Just have to be able to interpret what you see there, It's in everything out here. Absolutely everything. Takes another swig, puts it away. You guys pull up to the Arakim Palace. The outer walls, their guards there already set in place. They kind of wave you through as they see that you're part of the entourage. Idaho gets out and he's like, all right, you guys are with me. And it's like, let's get into the main hall. Iblis, my man. He kind of puts his hand on the guy's shoulder. He's like,
There
what
it
the
is.
hell are you wearing? He says, and he kind of pulls at this thing that's like dangling from his neck. And they're like, oh, easy. This is a real steel suit, Fremen make. Not that cheap stuff you'll find in the market down the way. So let me tell you, watch out for those. They got holes in them, he says, and he kind of like pokes his finger through his shirt, and now the other side comes through the other end. And he's like, I got some, I think your guys inside have got something for you, some sort of intelligence briefing or something like that. As soon as you need me, just call on me. I'll be hanging around. Actually, you got any spice coffee inside there? Or maybe, spice beer? Well, maybe we do.
Spices and
Let's go
everything.
meet the staff. He says, and he like waves you guys over. As you guys step into the large palace that used to belong to somebody else before the Atreides moved in, you see a group of Atreides soldiers. There's like a fountain there of water, and you see a young boy like on his knees, and he's just kind of waiting, like crouched there waiting as like somebody comes by. He kind of dips his hand, like one of the other soldiers like rinses his hands as he sees you guys coming, and he kind of like grabs the towel, dries his hand, and he drops the towel on the floor, and he goes over to meet you to shake your hand, or Idaho's hand, and he kind of like salutes each the senior people involved. Avalard is like, oh, I say, this is quite handy here. He goes over to the fountain and he washes his face, and he follows suit, drops another towel on the floor. The moment the towel hits the floor, this kid rushes up, grabs onto both of them, and takes it and starts like wringing it into what seems to be like a small like bucket of some sort, like a porcelain or bronze looking, like a bronze container.
Clearly, water is that important.
It seems like everything on this planet is interesting in some way, shape, or form. So I like to observe everything.
You're like, like observing. That's a very odd custom, but like, yeah, they don't waste any moisture here. The boy very clearly has the blue within blue eyes, so his blood's already been saturated with spice. He was born here, and he seems to be working at the palace as part of the staff. And you see this older woman, possibly in like her 50s, gets brought out to meet you guys as like the retinue is here. And she kind of nods and greets you guys as you go in through the main doors and into the main sort of area of the Regency here. It's essentially like an auditorium. It's a foyer of sorts. It's like a holding area, and then adjacent to the side seems to be like a large auditorium-style dining area and so on. They're like, "Through here, gentlemen." You see one of them says, "Let's see, who do you reach here? Who do you see? You see, one of the head captains there. He comes up and he's just like, right this way, gentlemen and ladies." And you see the soldier that you saw before, the elite Atreides soldier that was scrutinizing the Mentat. She's there now. And you see,
Where did how? I have questions for you later.
Again,
I just look at her.
Interesting. She's always been interesting.
She kind of keeps walking. She takes post along the side of the room where the main dining room is located. You see on tables that are normally set for like banquets, you see like communications equipment is set up. It looks like a very haphazard sort of operation. Looks like these guys just got here earlier this month and started taking stuff down. So everything's sort of like in this weird transitionary stage. There's a very small skeleton crew of housemaids and people like are working around the clock to clean this place up and get it ready for the Regis Familia to arrive and take quarters upstairs in the palace. You see the captain of the nearby guard is like he says something to the older housekeeper, and she yells in some language you don't understand to another person at the far end of the hallway, who seems to be adjusting what seems to be like a painting on the wall. And she's like, oh! The other woman stops what she's doing and immediately comes over and she yells up the stairway. You see a group of people eventually start trickling down the stairs to form a line in front of all of you. Duncan sits with Iblis at one of the tables, and you see Iblis looks around. He's like, anyone care for some spice beer? Actually, forget I said that. You look like you could use coffee with a touch of melange, perhaps. He motions for one of the servants that are there to go fetch a pot for everybody present.
I'd rather not, but thank you.
So we have a captain of the guard here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has the insignia. He salutes to Idaho. He reports to him, and Idaho just kind of like, whatever you have to tell me, you can tell these guys over here. They're with me. He's like, yes, of course.
Looks as though you've got a lot of comings and goings here. People moving around pretty haphazardly. A lot of holes and defenses.
I'm the security commander here, sir. He's like, I'm responsible for any lapses in such security.
Yes, that's
correct. I regret to inform you that we've lost a man as of recently. We have more information that goes beyond that. First, I just wanted to make everyone aware that this is the household staff. And he kind of like leaves them to introduce themselves. He's like, this is Mimoun Saha. I'll put these names in the Discord so you can read them.
He was like, I'm not even going to try.
So.
You can call her Saha. She's like the second in command of the household keeping staff. She's an older, wrinkled woman in her 50s and such. You see, he's like the main housekeeper, Mapes, is busy still recruiting people from Arakeen to form the rest of the residency house staff. This is what we have currently to fill that spot. These are the people underneath her care. And you see Saha steps forward. It's like she bows respectfully, and she's just like, "This is Arib," and she says, like, points to a fairly large, rotund man in his 40s who seems to be sort of like checked out. He's like looking around, like bored. And he's like, I myself have served 3 years under Count Hasamir Fenring here at the presidency. Arib here served with me in the same period of time. He is, and she uses a word for lazy, but she doesn't come out and say lazy and something that he can understand. He's a little independent. She says and looks at him, but he's honest. And then she looks over at a younger woman who appears to be has blue within blue eyes, like her and the young boy that were outside. And she's just like, "This is Nihal Irides." She seems to be like in her 20s. And she's just like, she's been with us for some time as well, at least 1 year's time with the Count. Fair features. She's just like, nods. She kind of looks at you guys like, "Oh, look. The new boss looks a lot like the old boss." Her look kind of conveys. Then there's the young boy who's no more than 12 standard years, blue within blue eyes, and she's like, "This is Hayan." And he's like, he also was here with the previous administration, as you may say. He is quite experienced. He gets into trouble, but he is a child after all. And then we have the new ones. She looks over to some of the other ones. A 14-year-old young girl. She describes it called Zina. It's like Zina here is a little bit just as experienced as Nihal. She has some experience under her belt, but she still has much to learn. She says she is a local from here, from Arakeen.
I was gonna. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt if we're going through these characters, but I was gonna ask if I could look at somebody a little closer.
Sure.
Arib?
Yes. He's just kind of he's a navel gazer. He's just kind of like.
I would like to check him out as much as I can, like look him up and down, kind of test this persona he's giving off. When he stares, like, do his eyes.
What is he looking at?
Is he looking at anything specific, or is he too specifically staring at nothing? Like, is this an act, right? This whole lazy staring off into space, like, oh, he's the lazy dumb guy, like,
Yeah, give me an observation roll.
Okay.
I would also like to go up to High-End, a 12-year-old, and kind of observe him a little bit.
Sure. He's like, look at these eyes. Oh,
literally,
yes.
like, I've never seen someone so young.
He seems kind of creeped out. He's just kind of like, he kind of leans in closer to the girl who's next to him, actually, the 14-year-old, and the 14-year-old kind of like, almost like a sister to him, just kind of like, it's okay, it's all right. And she kind of looks at you warily, and she's like.
And then I jump over to the sister when she does that.
He doesn't have a sister. These two don't appear to be siblings, although she definitely acts like a surrogate sibling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this one, Xena, who kind of looks over him, she doesn't have the blue within blue like he does.
Oh, you don't seem to have the same eyes he does. Why not? Please tell me. Please.
She seems a little like a cat's got her tongue, and you see Mimoon, Saha looks at her and says, "You can speak to him." She kind of gives her an approving nod. Hayan is Fremen. I am not.
I'm gonna walk up behind the doctor and just put my hand on his shoulder, lean in, and be like, Doctor, I do believe you might be a bit close."
How am I going to see the fine details with my scope? My eye.
You don't need to be this close. And I'm just gonna pull him back just a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, okay. You are no fun.
I'm not here to be fun.
Well,
I'm here to
there's
make sure we stay alive.
specimens here, and honestly, I've never seen one on Spice this young. It seems like it's often here. Like everybody is here. I thought it was a dog.
This is Mava. This is Mava, and she says she describes the last of the household staff that's with her here. She's a 20-something, very young, no blue eyes, youth here, and she's like Mava comes from Carthage. She's not originally from here. She lived under the Harkonnens, and when she heard that the Atreides were supplanting them here in Arakim, she was more than ready to join our team. Needless to say, for the Mentat, looking all over these people, alarm bells start going off in your mind. Just automatically, like, oh, there's something here. Like, you don't know if it's like your conditioning or if it was a little bit of the residue from the spice drink that you imbibed on the ride over here, but there's something about this crew here that is significant, and you're just like, which one of you? And like, you can't help but like look at every one of them individually and scrutinize each one, even the young ones. Like, which one of you knows something?
I whisper to Jamie, pay close attention as I walk past him. I walk over to the servant who had the tray of spiced coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Take my cup, pour half of it into an empty cup, walk directly up to Mamoon, hand it to her, and say, "So tell me about this Muad'Dib thing we keep hearing in the streets." And I want to scrutinize the reaction from every servant along with Jamie when I say that.
Yeah, I'll back him up on that.
For both of the things I just did, sharing the water and
Did you say Mahdi or Muad'Dib?
I said the thing they said in the street.
Mahdi. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You're like,
we're
tell me
gonna
about this
name drop-
Mahdi.
we're-
A very
name
fine
drop
difference
Muad'Dib.
between those, yeah.
Mahdi. You speak of a prophet?
I didn't drink that much spice.
It's like, what did you must have heard this on the street. There are street preachers outside these walls every day talking about the apocalypse. Pay no attention to these people. They know nothing. It's like they're simply religious adventurers here from all over the Arrakis. She's like,
I nod and ask her to elaborate, but I'm actually paying way more attention to the reactions to those two actions than what she's actually saying.
You see, she's like, yeah, the moment she said Mahdi, it's like, oh, Mahdi, yes, the people here have a legend, a voice from the outside, Lisan al-Gaib, will come to free them as a messiah or something. It's a very old story that was told a very long time ago.
I'd be fascinated to hear it sometime. Does she drink the coffee?
Yeah, she takes the coffee, she drinks it, like, she actually sips it. She has a particular way she takes it, so when you put it in her hand, she actually like goes, and she puts a little bit of something else in it, and she's like, okay, now it's good.
Ask her what that was.
It needed a bit more melange, she says. And so there's like a small container next to the coffee pot there, and then like when you unstop her, it's just pure cinnamon, like springs out of it. And you're like, oh, that's what I just had on the way over here. And like you notice it's like in everything, the food, the air, it's all over the place. It's inescapable.
What did the rest of the staff react to sharing water and asking that question randomly?
They were kind of most of them. About half of them were like whatever, but Hayan, Nihal, and Mimoon herself were just kind of like, whoa. They were kind of like taken aback, and they were kind of silenced and sort of shocked at like how you casually sort of poured stuff without guarding it carefully. Like Like they're very like when she's pouring stuff into your drink, she's like very very careful and deliberate about it. When you were sort of casually handling, she was kind of like, oh shit, like don't spill that.
Everyone is so.
So it's the other half that interests me, then, at least for future reference. It's the other half that seem to assume that we're the same as the Harkonnens that concern me more than the ones who assume we're different.
Ah, yes, the Harkonnens. Well, we've heard good things, at least about you Atreides. And he was hoping that they were correct. We're doing everything that we can to accommodate the family, as it were, before they're to arrive. We've had incidents as of late. And she looks at the security commander. Yes, you're all dismissed. It's fine. Thank you very much. Go back.
And then-
go on about your duties.
As I watch them walk away, to make it very mentatty, because it takes me a minute to process them, I will activate my once procession power. Mr. DM, which one of them
Yes.
is the worst danger to us?
The most danger?
Yes.
The one that didn't say or do anything.
Which one was that?
The one they call Nihal. The
Okay.
20s one that has the blue within blue eyes. You see, she was very quiet, didn't say anything, and she sort of looked at you guys like sort of like with this indignant look, like, oh, first we get Harkonnens, now we get you.
To the party and to the viewers, the reason that matters is my once procession power is, as a mentat, I just automatically know one thing, and Eric has to tell me truthfully.
Yes.
No way
And
it's
you're
wrong.
like,
Which
we
is
gotta watch that
awesome.
one right there.
Yes.
Yes.
That is
it
amazing.
I whisper that to both Jamie and what's your character's name, Tim? I haven't got it yet.
Aramis.
Aramis.
Think Three Musketeers.
I share that information with the both of them, and later with Duncan, but not right now.
Okay. Good to know.
As the Atreides security commander as the household staff disperses, and you see Mamoon starts like scolding what's his name, Arib, over something like she's like scolding him as they're going up the stairs. You see the security commander turn, and it's like after they've gone, he's like, in recent weeks, Atreides spice mining operations and thought the dispatches have come under fire in the Imperial Basin. Reports that came in said that they were being attacked by Fremen forces hidden in the rocks. I've spoken with some of the locals, and they deny having attacked any Atreides crafts since the changeover. Alright?
Why would the Fremen attack the Atreides spice traders?
Good question.
Precisely. We've also had another incident here that the housekeeper was reticent to mention. There was an incident in the basement where the house generator is located. One of our team members attempted to access this area at some point in the evening, and they instantly died of poison.
Well, this seems to be a trend.
Instantly.
You know something about this, Doctor?
Yes, I do actually.
Perhaps we should show you then when you're ready. We've not yet explored certain areas of the palace. I would be wary of accessing them for right now. One such area is the Regis Familia house rooms, in particular. The Duke and Lady Jessica's quarters, as well as young Master Paul's bedroom, has not been thoroughly checked as of yet. The basement, as I said, the location of the shield generators and the backup barracks beds, and subsequently where our communications equipment is to be relocated, has not been vetted as of yet due to this recent incident. We're taking our time here, and we were hoping that once you've arrived, perhaps you can lend a hand to such an extent.
Oh, no doubt. I think we can definitely do that. But you, out of character, those were rooms that you were saying that we shouldn't go into, or
Those are places that haven't been searched yet, so don't go in
Okay.
there by yourself, is what he's saying. You know,
Yeah.
because there still may be traps there that they're, working on resolving, as it were.
okay. Well then, that's definitely some very good advice for me. I will definitely heed your advice on that part as well. I would like to take a look at the body for the guy that got poisoned, you said? Is that going to be a problem?
Not at all. And he kind of motions over for one of the soldiers, and he's like, there's an area. There is a infirmary, not too far down. They'll be able to take you over there. It's like right next to the barracks downstairs. Take him out there, and the guy nods, and he's like, "Come with me, sir." Tip of the spear. Yep. That is mostly correct. There's only been one death for Atreides inside the palace due to poison. There are multiple Atreides casualties outside the palace because as spice mining operations have begun on Arrakis, they've been attacked by supposedly Fremen forces. And you see Duncan Idaho stands up and he's like, "Attacked out on the Imperial Basin, Commander?" It's like, "Sir." He's like, I want to double the guard. I brought 20 men with me. Should be sufficient to guard the area. And he's like, the rest of these good, fine people are to accompany me. I want to check out the crash sites in particular. I want to take a stop there in the morning. Iblis, would you be okay for that? You see Iblis like, yeah, I'll fly you wherever we need to go. Just point the way. I'll fly you.
Wait, he flies too?
Marcus flies. Yes, Iblis is a pilot. He's a spy smuggler. He's in with the smugglers people, so yeah, that's how you know him.
So Iblis.
You're like, oh,
I'm
shit.
gonna
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Iblis.
Jamie on the.
I'm gonna need a drink before that flight.
I'm gonna tap Jamie.
So will he.
So I'm gonna tap Jamie on the shoulder, and I'm gonna be like, "Sir, if you pardon me, may I have a word with you?"
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, what I was thinking is, I think we should check those rooms while they haven't been completely searched. The reason why is because it hasn't been touched yet, so the evidence is still fresh. So I think we should go in there, me and you, to see what we can find. So that's basically, you're pretty good at being quiet. I am not. I'll probably pretty much engage every trap that's in the room. So if you could help me out, that'd be awesome.
I was going to say that in that case you should go first.
More like you, because then you could tell me where the traps are so I can avoid them. That's how that works, isn't it?
I see. I see.
And with my keen observation, we will be a great team and be able to do this perfectly. Promise you on that. Even with my metal leg and all. And it will not horribly fail. A little shoddy work, but it's okay, it won't fail.
Very well.
Sorry, it seems the spice in my coffee is trying to kill me.
I would also like to I also have a plan that I can throw out. We might do this, might not. But can the four of us kind of just have a moment to sort of
Sure.
get our bearings? Okay.
Absolutely.
Before
That's the whole
that,
point of this
Yeah.
particular scene. Yeah.
before that, I'd like to walk up to Iblis.
Yeah.
Put an arm around his shoulder, move him away from everyone else. Look at him and say, Fremen attacking the Atreides spice runs. I bet you probably know something about that because you're a smuggler and you're out in that part of the world. It's safe to tell us, so you know. And then I need a filter for this, but I use the voice on it. You should tell me the truth.
Ooh, roll mystic powers, bruh.
He knows the voice.
I do know the voice.
Tyler.
That's why I took him away, so you would notice.
Oh no! I want to take back.
Tyler has the spooky woo powers.
It is. He has indeed the spooky woo powers.
God help us.
Holy fuck! He
2 successes.
failed horribly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You. Okay. Your voice starts to change a little bit. It's like, you want to tell me everything, honestly? And he's just kind of like, right, yeah. Well, you see, the Fremen actually have been attacking the smugglers, spice smugglers, since the beginning. They don't want us here, and well, they got several palms to grease while they're here already, so they actually need the spice just as much as anybody else, really. I've taken a couple of shots at a few Fremen in my time, especially in the southern regions of the planet. It's quite dangerous out there, whether you're working for the Harkonnens or working for the Atreides. They're gonna more than likely gonna get shot at, or you're gonna get.
So there's still Harkonnens out there to work for.
Oh no, the Harkonnens are done spice mining on Arrakis. They're up to some other nonsense right now, I'm sure. They're already out the door. Although, if you ask me, a lot of them are still sticking around, if you get my meaning. He winks his good eye.
And you really think those are Fremen attacking the Atreides spice mining ornithopters?
I honestly don't know anything about it. This only just happened a little while ago. Last couple of weeks, really. Before then, they didn't blow up ornithopters. That is a little odd. Most of the time, they'd wait for the ornithopters to land, and then they'd assault, right? And then they'd take the ornithopter and they'd keep it for themselves. But these Fremen shot the thopters right out of the air, killed everybody on board. That's all I know.
You're a good man. I hand him some spice beer.
Much obliged.
I relay all of that to Duncan, as well as the party.
Huh. Yeah, he's just like, huh.
Oh,
That is
interesting.
weird.
I'm sorry.
I want to
didn't
make
think
contact
the
with the
Fremen had that
Fremen.
kind
Could you
of
set
weaponry.
something up with that, Iblis? Yeah, I can put some feelers out for you, Mr. Commander Idaho, sir. I can make sure that we can get in contact with him and see what's going on with these blimey Harkonnens out there. More than likely, that's they're doing, yeah? We'll love to see.
I also think that we should talk to the little ones as well. Usually, they're very perceptive, and they don't lie, usually. So I think if we, maybe we can get one of them to slip up. Well, we will be able to get them to slip up, because they're kids, anyways. They're very observant.
The security lieutenant took you downstairs into the infirmary, Doctor. Brings you into this room, and there seems to be, it's empty for the most part, but there is one body on a slab that he takes out, and you see it's the same sort of complexion, and when you look at the hands, you know immediately what happened. And you see the little residues along the fingertips, palm lock. Somebody put their palm to open the door.
Well,
Dead.
there's your problem right there. Looks like someone put some sort of poison on his palm. He grabbed the door and instantly killed over.
We haven't touched him since we found him. The household staff found him dead at the door to the basement. Door open.
Well,
We
it's
didn't touch it after that.
Well, it's a good idea because you guys probably would have died if you would have touched them.
We've already cordoned 2 officers there to make sure nobody manages to wander in by accident or on purpose. We want to make sure we secure the scene for further investigation, as the security commander requested.
Well, so I think what we should do next is we need to learn how this poison works so we can maybe get an antidote if this ever happens again. Because most likely we do have a rat in this mix. And we definitely need to find the rat because he's probably poisoning people, stating the obvious already. So
Agreed. I was like, if you need to speak to anybody, I'm sure the household staff, the second head of staff, Saha, will be able to accommodate you with whatever it is that you need.
thank you.
Within reason, of course.
Well, and then he just comes out and he's like, well, I'm gonna need like these giant list of just complicated stuff. And he's like, I'm gonna need some crazy scalpels. I'm gonna need giant scissors.
He's like writing all this shit down like, okay.
You can get it from these nuts, so I can get this job done, of course.
Blinker fluid and God knows what else.
You're giving him a list of things to, record for your needs. Are you guys doing anything on the top side where you guys are located in the main banquet hall?
So, I want to follow up with these the people we met that were working on the
household staff. Sure.
The household staff, yeah. We know one of them is dangerous to us. We know one of them associates or has no difference in their mind between us and Harkonnens. So, and then with what Tyler's character was able to find out, so I would like to. I would like to set up a series of interviews. We obviously don't have to go through each one. The core for what I would like to do is set up interviews and do them all. And I would want to interview each one of them one-on-one, right? Maybe bring in Tyler's character if he wants to as well, because he can see things, and together we're pretty good.
Cool.
And the goal here is to interview everybody except for Nahal.
Okay.
And then bring in Nahal last.
Okay, fair enough. You want to run this by the Mentat and the others before you implement it?
Yeah, I'll be open with everybody because I trust these three as of now. So it's like, so our most immediate actions in the palace deal with the staff, the rooms, and the body. I believe all of us should go to the rooms as our skills. It's the most immediate danger. I'd like to have the protection of the Swordmaster, the observation of the Doctor, and the Mentat, and the infiltration skills of myself. So, Doctor, why don't you investigate more about the body? Swordmaster, you can do whatever it is you feel most useful at currently. And Rune, perhaps me and you could conduct the interviews needed.
Absolutely. I'll allow you to ask the questions. I will observe.
Perfect. Excellent. My goal will be to interview the others with minimal expectation of advancement. However, once we bring Nahal in, we'll place blame on at least one of the other servants and see if we can't bring them into an understanding with us. Lure them in. Say that we know that they're trustworthy and it's the others we're afraid of.
Agree.
All right, you run this plan through Idaho?
Do I have to?
You kind of have to.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, shit.
He kind of gives you, the ability to do whatever. Like you work, if you work for Hawat, you do Hawat stuff. That's fine. But Idaho is arranging for a flight out to the crash site like tomorrow morning with Iblis and anybody else who wants to come along on a thopter ride to the scene of the crime, so to speak, to kind of inspect the wreckage and see what they can salvage, if anything, get testimonies, etc., before coming back to the residency. If you want to do that, you're free to do that. He gives you his blessing. He's just like, just be careful, think about what you're doing. Don't give yourselves away, in how you're conducting these interviews.
Of course.
Bruh.
As he leaves, I look over at Jamie and I just offhandedly mutter, "It's really strange, but every time I see him, I just get this gut feeling he'd make a fantastic Mentat."
Yes.
Inside jokes.
Yes. 100%. So you guys make that arrangement with each other, and it's by this point you guys are kind of exhausted. You've been flying for 3 days to get here, and then you get here and it's like physically draining to be outside. So like when you get inside, you're like, holy shit, and like finally you just want to rest for a while. And Idaho's like, yeah, go ahead and take the rest of the day off, just get rested. But in the morning, I'm gonna be on the landing field at the break of dawn with Iblis and anybody else who wants to come along. We're gonna jump on a thopter. We're gonna fly out to the desert.
Okay.
Okay.
In the meantime, since a lot of the rooms aren't available right now, at least for the Regis Familia portion of the House Atreides, there is an area located. Let's see. Let me see, where is it located? There is a small barracks, just outside the building, outside the residency, literally like right around the corner, on the same area where that's walled in, or actually just behind that, there's like what seem to be like spice silos, specifically there, like the house, like such earnings, and it's right. Spilos, and those are fenced off and right next to, like right adjacent to the landing field itself. So you're just like, okay. So it's a little bit of a drive, but once you leave the residency, actually no, it's right on the ground. So like, it's like a series of small warehouses, essentially is what it is. And abutting it is like a large landing field where you guys came in on the starport. So like if you want to, you can bunk with the rest of the soldiers that have already been here, that regiment, in those warehouses. There's nothing there. There's no spice holdings there or anything like that. The whole place smells of spice, of course, but there's nothing there. It's been kind of like converted into like a makeshift barracks until barracks that are located in the basement is essentially unlocked and secured.
Okay. So, out of character, you said the guy that died from the basement door, correct?
The opening to the basement area, which has like bunk beds for the the troops that are on site security, and then below that is the actual area where the shield generator is for the entire facility.
Gotcha. Okay.
That way, it's not open to attack.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow.
With that, Idaho and the rest of these guys retire. Iblis says, "I'll meet you on the tarmac at the break of dawn, Idaho. And thanks again for the spice beer." And he gets up, starts letting himself out. "I'll see you all later." And he gets let out. Are any of you doing anything for the rest of the day as it's starting to wind down?
I actually want to see what the little kids are doing. I would actually
Hayan.
What?
Hayan?
Jan, yeah, the 12-year-old. He's still like in that phase where he plays a lot, and I was just seeing if he was playing or anything like that, or.
That's the interesting thing about this kid, is that despite his age, he's surprisingly mature. You don't see him playing anything. Like when you go outside and look for him, you find him easily enough. Well, with other kids, or even like he seems to be off to the side, outside the main area where the fountain is, and you see people near the fountain, like holding up like coins and stuff like that, and he takes them and he takes a little bronze bucket that he has and he pours a little bit of that moisture that he was collecting earlier into a cup. He's a water seller.
All right then.
Quite an impressive skill you got there, young one. Where'd you learn that?
He's like, I learned it from the desert, he says, and he takes another one's coin, and he's like, he's busy, working.
Can I help you in some way, shape, or form? I'm really interested to know how to do this. How did you do that?
Give me a manipulation roll.
Manipulation roll?
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is gonna be bad, guys.
Dr. Brock! If you're not trained in manipulation, then it's just empathy. Whatever you have in empathy, if you could roll, or you could spend Karama if you want to use it as like an automatic success to try to like appeal to the child.
Does that reset every
Actually,
every
what I'm
session?
gonna do is I'm going to use my special talent that I have, which
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a big one.
it is a good one.
It's a critical success.
Yep.
You get a critical success automatically, no questions asked.
Correct.
Although, hold on a minute. Let me double check that. I think, what is it, Hand of God?
It's like, yeah, it's like Hand of God, I think.
Your
I wrote it
skill, you
down
can choose an automatic crit success of your skill. On a skill test of your choice. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, okay. Is this an advanced skill? Is the question. That's the only thing I need
No,
to know.
it's not. I think in advanced skills,
Oh.
you have to have a 1 or up in that set skill.
Oh, yes. Metacurgy. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, you got it. You got a critical success as you're trying to appeal to this young boy, and you don't know what it is. If it's the way, the intonation of your voice, or the way that you kind of like smiled with your eyes at him after you put away your goggles for a second and stopped looking at him as a specimen. You're not sure what it is, or maybe it was just a trick of the light. You don't know, but for some reason, he buys it for a second, and he's just like, "What is it that you want to know?"
What do you think of what's his name? The one that's bad.
The one that's bad. Nihal, the one that the Mentep pointed at and was like, everybody needs to watch that one.
Yeah.
What do I think about her?
Think
Such,
of
yes.
Nihal.
She is Fremen, what can I say? But like me. But I know her secret.
Oh yeah, I'm very good with secrets. You can tell me.
And he looks at the people who are like buying water from him, and he's like, "After this, I will tell you." Yes.
Yeah, and I'll even help you with the job that you have.
And
I
that's
like
how
my
that
payment.
kid dies.
So yeah, you help him along, and he's like, he thanks you, and he gives you like 2 Solaris or something like that, for your trouble. He's like, "Thank you, doctor," says, looking at your tattoo.
Yep.
And he's like, he kind of like whispers and like tells you to follow him like around the corner where like you're out of sight and out of hearing for anybody there. See, he's like, I know what she does or where she goes after she leaves this place. He says, he looks around, and he's like, "But I will tell you her secret, but you have to promise me something first. You have to give me your word as an Imperial doctor. Can you do that?"
I can do that. I promise. And
And
my word.
his mouth is kind of trembling, and he's like, you have to promise me that in exchange for what I'm going to give you, that you will take me back to this place that you come from. The place where water falls from the sky, and where there are endless oceans. Is it true?
Doctor's always wanted a son.
You really do. Big dreams. But yes. If I have to sneak you on myself, I will do it.
Oh boy.
Oh
You
man.
promised to take me back
I promise.
to your world.
This-
I will tell you her secret then. Yes.
Tell me.
She's like, "I've seen her. I've observed her. I've lived on these streets for years. I've seen where she goes after she finishes in the residency. She doesn't reside with the others. She slips out. She goes down the street this way." And so, like, he points, and he's like, "There are others there. Others like her and myself. They receive her, and they talk with her, and they bring her into this place, this building. You can't miss it if you go down that way." And he starts like walking with you down the street. Do you follow him?
Yes.
Okay. He takes you
That's
on a
like that.
zigzag tour of Arcane as you're going through like the market, which is bustling with people. Even this late at day, people are trying to sell water to you. Like, "Oh, I got something for you here. Oh, a doctor. Yes, you must have this. This is no. You don't want to listen to this shithead over here. He does not know. You want to buy from me." And he's like, like you're getting accosted by all these people. Eventually, he just kind of grabs your hand, drags you along. He's like, follow me, and like he brings you to this one area after you clear the water cellars and everywhere, and you see this like preacher person like, "The fire's coming! Oh, the Atreides bring fire from the sky! It will be the end of us, of this city and this world as we know it! I have seen it! And like he passed a crazy person on the street. Eventually he turns a corner and there's like a sort of like a cul-de-sac. And when you look at the end, there appear to be two fairly large men in what look to be cloaks very similar to the ones that you saw Iblis wearing when you saw him on the landing tarmac. These guys are just sort of like hanging out and they're just sort of like kneeling or crouched down near what seems to be like a doorway into a fairly large 2-story building, like an apartment building essentially. And you see as soon as he rounds the corner, he kind of leans out a little bit. Give me a the infiltration.
Oh
You're good
God.
at that, right?
No.
Well, we're gonna
One
need a new
second,
doctor.
right?
guys.
Rest in
Well-
peace, Doctor.
Nice knowing
One
that.
session, we've already got somebody dead.
This is gonna be interesting. All right.
It's dangerous out there, Jared. Never go alone. Take this. Looks at Swordsmaster.
No successes. Oh no! Would you like to
No.
spend some Karama points?
Yeah, we're gonna spend a Karama point.
Like,
I
just
turned
roll
my
for
head,
the
and he was
front
gone.
here. 1 second. Observation would be whips, so that's by default. Yes. Okay. How many successes do you get
For what?
for your roll, or how many points did you spend rather?
Oh, just one of Karama.
Just one. All right. You see, the boy doesn't make a sound. He's pretty quiet actually. He kind of slips along the corner and he peeks like this. And as you like lean out to see what he's looking at, you put down your goggles and you're adjusting your shit and everything. And both guys look up at the same time. You lean over around the corner, and they start to stand up. And you see the kid's like, oh, yanks you out of view. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's just like, we must go now.
Okay. I believe you. This is dangerous. We need to go. I need to get my. Okay, let's go.
And you hear somebody yelling from the alley, and you're like, "Oh shit!" And like he immediately starts running. Chase music. Roll initiative, please.
Oh no!
Oh God!
All by himself.
Yep.
And we've split the party. This can only end well.
Chase music clicked.
Initiative 4. Okay, not too bad. That's actually exactly what they got. So you both go around the same time. You basically have 3 action points that you could use. You can move again. You have a couple different options as far as that's concerned, or you can take out a weapon and to use for combat.
Don't stop
If you decide to use a
running.
combat weapon,
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop running. I'm gonna run, and I'm gonna try to find like the best hiding spot I can.
okay. You see the 2 guys come around the corner. They've got Maul pistols in their hands,
Ooh, yeah. Oh God.
and they
Well,
look around and they see the
we
kid. And they're
run.
like, and you see he immediately ducks out of sight. He's like, nope. And you're just trying to keep up with him, and he like tries his best to try to hide you. He's like, come this way, come this way. And he starts running into the marketplace with you. I need you to give me another infiltration check, please. Actually, no, not infiltration. Athletics. Give me an athletics. Or sorry, I say athletics, but what I mean is dexterity.
Oh, actually, I'm
That
good.
is actually you're better at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two.
Oh shit, that's good. That's
Yeah.
probably better than. Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Meanwhile, back in the other building, I look at Jamie. Doctor's been gone a while. Bet he fell asleep in the chair. You guys really boring.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot to explore in the city. I'm sure he's fine.
Quick.
Perfectly
User
safe.
Fremen. Okay, so one of them rolled a 3. I mean, by 3, I mean 3 successes.
Oh my
Might
God.
want to spend a point of Karama to outrun them. I'm rolling really well for these guys. I got
Okay.
2 on the other one.
Question. Do I get Karama back next?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Yes, then yes.
Actually, how much
spend-
do you get back? Do you get back what you spend?
The
or do
full
you
allotment, yeah. You get a full,
okay.
you always get 3 minimum. If you get accrue more because of cool stuff, you get to keep it, of course.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm using 1. Actually,
All
if
right.
I don't, I'm going to use 2. Because
You
I
use
need
2?
to be alive.
You're like, I've got to book out of here. Okay, that one of them
Literally.
does it. You see, one of them manages to squeeze off a shot before you get into the marketplace. 6. Yes. You see,
Got a
as
leg
soon as he
as nuts.
shoots, one of them like stops him, and he's like, "No!" But he goes and he takes a shot. Roll a 6-sided dice. On a 4, 5, or 6, it's you.
A 6-sided die.
What's the kid's number?
6.
That's you. Okay, so he fires at you. You're like, there's shit all over the place, so like, there's a chance that you can get out of the way. So just give me an agility check.
Agility.
Yeah. You only need
He's a
1
4.
success
It's not
for
too
this
bad,
one because
guys.
There's stuff in the way.
Oh, come on.
It's possible.
Oh!
Made it, son of a bitch.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you see one of them fires a Molotov pistol. It's
Oh.
actually kind of quiet. It's like a tuck. And you actually you manage to zig and zag just as you're entering into the marketplace. Somebody's jar just explodes and water falls to the floor, and the guy's like,
Oh
The pottery barn! And he like falls to
Okay,
his knees.
okay,
and
first of all,
pushes
do I
right
have any
past
money
his
on me?
ass.
Like
There's
anything.
no time to pay this guy. They're running after
Oh,
you. And
no,
you see the kid's
no,
like,
not what
we
I'm
gotta
trying to
stop,
say.
follow, come on! We gotta go!
No, what I'm gonna do, like, do I have some sort of coins on me, like a mass amount?
You got the 2 that he gave you, actually, for helping him out.
Chuck him at the pottery barn.
Okay.
Your shoulder.
That's not gonna work. I'm just gonna keep running.
He's trying to
Never
make
mind.
caltrops.
Yep. I'm gonna see if I can be like, here, money everywhere.
You
Make everyone,
outrun
like,
them. By the time you go into the market and beyond, like you zig through the crowd and stuff like that, and you see the 2 guys like end up at the alleyway looking around. They kind of tuck the mall pistols away, and instead they just kind of split up and they start weaving their way into the crowd quickly to try to spot you. This is where the infiltration check comes in. You get a bonus though because you're in a crowd. So on your sheet where it says bonus, double click that and add like 2 to it. Actually, add 3 to it. Add 3 to the bonus, and then roll your agility. If you don't have points in infiltration.
Bonus?
On the very upper right-hand corner where it says difficulty and bonus dice,
Oh, okay.
give yourself 3 bonus dice for this. Because not
Like
only
this
did you
is-
outrun them, but you're in a crowd. You're in a very crowded marketplace.
Double click it to open
Yeah,
the little
yeah,
box.
double-click.
Oh, gotcha. Put 3. Okay.
Mhm. And then you're gonna click your agility if you don't have infiltration.
Okay. Yeah, we're definitely gonna
You got very lucky. This guy didn't just shoot your ass.
go. Yo, you. No idea. 2.
2, and you went at the same time. Okay, you got it, man. No, you're good. No need for combat. Then you see, like they spread out and they each try to like basically close in on you, like the closing of a net. They try to close in on you and the boy, and he's like, this way, come on, or actually you grab him instead. You duck into an alleyway in between the 2 very closely adjacent buildings. And you kind of sideways shimmy over, and you like bust into you kind of squeeze into the other side on the other side of the street into another alleyway, and like you come out of there like exhausted and panting, but you lost them.
Oh my god. Oh. Kid, that was a close one. Let's
He's
go
just
back
like,
now.
I almost got us killed. That's the last time I'm doing this.
Let's go back now. Where it's safe. Oh, back to
Nowhere
Darren.
is safe out here.
Oh.
You have to be careful, stranger. And it's like, come, doctor. I'll take you back to the residency.
Thank you. And I know you have, to be honest, you have costed. You almost risked your own life. For that, I thank you for it.
Very well done. So you think you guys end up going back to the residency, having lost those 2. They were Fremen. 100%. They had the blue within blue eyes, and what seemed to be like a special cloak that they wrapped around their shoulders. They seemed to be waiting for somebody, but certainly that somebody was not you. All right, so you get back to the palace, and he's like, "Okay, you go now. Thank you, and good. I will see you before you leave. Yes."
Yes, you will. I'll do
He
my best.
smiles authentically, and he's like, he kind of takes off down the street. Okay.
I'm gonna show
What do
up
you do
with, like
once
90
you're-
relatives.
I'm also
They're
out of
coming as
character.
well. Yes, he actually doesn't have a family, from what you can
I'm
tell.
honestly
Pretty
kind of
virgin.
counting. Never mind. Anyways, I'm gonna go back, and I'm not gonna give out the information just yet. I want to know what they got first before I go out.
Okay. So now that while you were doing that, we can say that the Mentat or anybody else who wanted to observe where the bodies were or wanted to do something else, you could do that, unless you wanted to just skip to the next day where you are going presumably to conduct interviews or board Thopter with Idaho and Iblis.
I think Steve wanted to do the interviews this day.
Oh, that evening. Okay, interesting.
If we
all,
can,
all
if
of
we
them?
can, but if it's
But-
just not
Nah.
viable for how tired we are, then we can,
Wait
up
till
to you.
after the Thopter trip.
What do you think?
They're going to be fatigue penalties.
Probably not. I mean, you're
Yeah, let's
kind of
do it.
tired, but it's not like not mentally draining or anything like that.
Okay. And especially with our kind of knowing what we want to do with it, yeah. So, yeah, if we can do those tonight, then.
All right, who would you like to interview? All right, everybody in
So-
a particular order, or
So no, the only thing specifically, like kind of like, probably by like hierarchy, except again for the one that we know is the threat, them last. So based on seniority, except for the one we know is a threat, them last.
okay, on seniority basis, then you're probably going to be interviewing Saha first. She's the older woman, second in charge under Mapes, in her 50s.
Mhm.
She's got about 3 years under her belt, working here under Count Fenring. Where do you want to interview her in?
I would like to set up a room. Like I kind of want to make it like I kind of want to make it obvious that we're doing these interviews as best as we can. Everyone knows this has happened. Like everyone's aware that the poisoning happened, right? Like that's not like a secret.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah,
Yeah. So
the housekeeping staff found
exactly.
the Atreides officer
So,
dead at the door. Yeah.
I want to be kind of like obviously transparent about it. So we're gonna like
Mhm.
set up a table in an empty room somewhere, and like I'll
Okay.
sit down and I'll have Tyler's character like standing like creepily to the side, and just make it like that stereotypical like interview
behind, like,
session
the-
thing, you know. And then that way when Sahai leaves, you know, she'll immediately go and tell you know, everybody what's going on, and that's kind of, you know, I want them. So my goal is to make them fully like they're gonna know what this is, right? And I want them to start talking amongst themselves and do that. My only goal in regard to like hiding anything is hiding that we know the one person is a threat. Other than
Okay.
that, I want them talking about this and being like, oh, they're doing interviews and they're following up on that dead guy.
All right.
So
You make it pretty obvious that you're setting up space in the palace to receive the household staff to conduct the interviews and such. You could probably do it anywhere like the foyer or the auditorium dining area where they have like, you know, it's like a banquet style kind of hall, which is just on the other side of the kitchen pantry. You've got several workshops and places where you can set up shop. Alternately, it's up to you. Or the infirmary, even. It's fairly vacant in there.
okay, then let's do that.
Okay, infirmary then.
Yeah, and then that way, like
So-
that actually helps because then they can kind of like that idea of like the infirmary, the medicine, like it's like
Mm.
you know, that subconscious like
The body is
This
right there.
It's about
Yeah.
a dead guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, since we're using the infirmary, I'll spend a couple minutes making all of the sharp, cutty things obvious because it's subconsciously, psychologically helpful.
Yeah.
Very true. Okay. You bring
We
Saha down
don't want to
and
be that subtle about like that's obviously a subtle way of doing it, but like it
Sure.
just adds to the overall like overbearingness of the situation.
Understood, yeah. That's fine. Yeah, you bring her in, and you see she's like, Saha is just like, yes, I understand you wanted to speak with us about this particular incident. And she looks over at the dead body, doesn't blink once. He's like, I've seen a dead person before.
You seem unfazed.
You know, when you live in Arrakeen, death is a constant, one day to the next. It's I suppose it's my upbringing. It's like I didn't grow up in the city, I grew up in the desert.
In the desert, I see. Interesting. And
Quick question. Who else is present besides you? Is it just you two, or is anybody else in the room with you?
I wouldn't block any of them from coming. I assume the doctor's still doing his stuff, but if
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if
And my
Aaron
only
just-
purpose
could-
is to watch.
I could definitely just stand outside the door and let them in one at a time and just
Okay.
stand there.
Stand
with
guard?
my,
Sure.
doesn't
just
yeah, it
stand
doesn't
guard
hurt
with
to
my
have
hand,
yeah.
just with my hand on the hilt of my katana, just on the butt cap, just holding it there.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, that works.
Am I here for this?
You might be coming in at the last leg of it because I figured if while you were doing that with Hayan, they could probably conduct a couple interviews in the
Yeah, because
interim.
you just
Fine, that's what I thought.
vanished.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to like come in on the last one or two, perhaps, depending on how long the interviews take, then yeah, sure.
Okay.
We probably wouldn't let anyone in on the very last one. That's the important one.
Right.
Okay.
So for Saha, just well, you grew up in the desert. Interesting. And how do you enjoy the palace life?
It's certainly not what I'm used to.
No?
But like anything, you get used to it. It's honest work for honest pay, I suppose.
Honesty.
When they're
I
Yes.
value honesty and openness. Saha, we're looking for someone who killed a friend of ours, a colleague, a other word for friend.
colleague, yeah, associate. It's like I
So-
understand.
So
It's like you want. It's like somebody has committed an atrocity on your people,
correct.
and you are owed water. I understand this concept.
It's an interesting way of putting that. Owed water. Water seems to be of great importance to you. I can understand coming from this environment that being so. I hope
There's
that
a
we
difference
can...
between life and death here.
Absolutely. Life and death. What we're talking about. The death of that man over there. Can you help me out, Saha? Can you point me in the direction of who owes us water?
I will assist you in whichever way I can. Well, it's up to you whether or not you listen.
Oh, we have every intention of listening, Saha. We want to reach out and help. Tell me, what was it like with the previous administration?
Count Fenring, he's very furtive, very quiet, stutters a lot. But there was something odd about him, something deeply disquieting. I think there was more to him than he let on.
I see. Dishonesty, perhaps.
Perhaps so. I know his wife was very cultured, very observant.
We have our own observers. And I just motion to Rude in the corner. But with us, with me, again, Saha, honesty. Very important.
Of course.
I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you talking to me. You can step out now. Aramis will show you out.
Thank you. She just stands up and she, leaves the room. All right. You see, she calls on whoever it is that you want next in order of seniority.
I'll
just gonna be Arib.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go down the list then. Let's bring in Arib next.
Okay. This guy, he kind of lumbers in,
I
was a quick interview. He
I just want to immediately be annoyed. Like,
yeah, he just doesn't seem to care. He's just kind of, this is where I sit. Okay. Sits down and he's like,
I stare a hole through him.
picks his nose a little bit,
For the record, state your name, please.
Arib Galab.
And your duties, your time here, please.
It was 2 years for under Count Fenring.
More quickly, please. Come on, you must know what you do in a day.
I take out the trash. I wash I upkeep the fountain at times.
The water fountain. Is that right? Arib?
Yes, but in particular, they have me doing a lot of work in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
I scribble notes when he says that. It doesn't mean anything. I just wanted it off the
Yeah.
In the kitchen, I see.
I even make a noise. Kitchen.
Kitchen.
I see.
Yeah.
So access to food and water.
Yes.
Clearly able to come and go as deal with people's meals and their ability to consume the ever-precious water for hydration. Arib, I'm going to be very open with you right now. You're my number one suspect. I don't buy this.
Every time the word water comes up, I scribble.
He looks at his timepiece. It's like, what?
I don't.
Are you trying to make him feel nervous or anything like that?
Yeah.
You can use manipulation to do that.
Okay. Yeah, and I just want to as I do that, I just want to start pressing him. Arib, I don't buy this whole persona that you've put on. Obviously, you know more than what you do. You've been here for years. Obviously, Arib, you're a very intelligent and capable man to be able to glide so effortlessly through here. You're the one that was able to touch everything, move about effortlessly, no eyes upon you, but my eyes are on you, Arib. I can see you. I can see who you really are.
Can I assist this roll?
Of course. Ham it up.
Who should go first, the assister or the roller?
Go ahead and do what you're gonna do, and if you're assisting,
the thing
you just
with
need one
scratching
success.
notes and making disapproving noises every time he mentions water is my assistant.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Yeah, that's fine. You can both roll manipulation. If you get a success on yours, Tyler, you can add to Steve's.
Okay.
So we're just both rolling. Cool.
Nope, no help from me. All you.
One from me.
All you. You got one. Okay, excellent. Second. Manipulation. What is manipulation under? I believe it's empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's just kind of you've got him sweating now. You're just you're my number one suspect now, Arib. Do you know what this means? And he's just kind of wait, what? I didn't do anything wrong.
Do you know what the penalty is for the assassination of a member of the house?
I didn't kill anybody. He touched a palm lock that was poisoned. That was not me. I work in the kitchen. I made your coffee. None of you are dead.
Except, obviously, in the kitchen you have to move freely back and forth. What do they keep in the basement? I can only imagine.
I don't know what they keep in the basement. I don't work down there.
You don't work-
Ring never used it.
You're telling me you've never once had to go down to the basement to fetch something in storage or do anything? You're gonna tell me that if I go through every single thing, if I go through all of the security footage, if I go through
No,
film-
that's not what I said. I said I haven't been there recently. He's you're obviously making him very nervous, and he's trying to backtrack, and he's fucking up. He's no, that's not what I meant. Hold on. No. Look, I didn't touch anything. I didn't kill anybody. What do you got against me? Basically, he says, what What is your proof?
What is my proof? My proof. Well, there's the kicker, Reeb. You've covered your tracks pretty well so far. But we're on to you. We know what you are.
What?
But
I just
Reeb,
work here.
But Reeb, look in my eyes, and I specifically have cold eyes. Look in my eyes. It takes a killer to know a killer. And
No.
And I'm looking at you now.
I didn't kill anybody. I swear. I am not capable of it. I would. I have too much to lose.
Go on, Reeb. You're free to go.
What?
You're free to go for now. But if you talk
Looks at the mentat and he's just like.
But if you talk to Sahai, you'll know. I value honesty, so I wanted to let you know that I'm watching you. And as soon as I have that proof, I'll see you again. Goodbye.
He almost trips getting off of the chair. He just kind of like. He tries to like cover it up, like, oh no, I didn't fuck up. You fucked up, and then he just kind of walks out of the room and speeds down the. He takes one look at the sword master outside, like hurries down the hallway.
I just like stand there and I just move my eyes and glance at him as he runs past me. Not moving a muscle, just
flounders down the hallway and disappears around the corner.
For the ease of moving through this a little faster for Heian and Xena,
yes.
I'm gonna go a little less intense with them.
Sure.
I'll bribe them with like
chocolate.
Yeah, do we have candies or chocolates or anything like that?
Something, a luxury item they
Sure,
don't have.
Yeah, some sort of, like, I'll treat them like
off-world
kids,
stuff, yeah, sure.
Yeah, ice cream. There you go.
Caledonian pundy rice treats or something, sure, yeah.
And for them, just like, now, I know the
Give them
adults
ice cream
move
on the
around and
desert
talk
planet.
about things that you might not
Blow
fully
their mind.
understand all the time, but, and I know that I'm a new face here, but you'll be seeing a lot of me, and I want only the best for you. Here, try this. And I slide a piece of candy to both of them. Like, I'll do the same speech for both of them.
Oh, you see Hayan's eyes like open up like, whoa, this is amazing. And yeah, same thing with, with Xena, it's, with Xena, it's a little bit different. She's just like, oh, this is quite good.
Good. So
I got a question on that. Wouldn't Haran, during this time, getting chased by
Hiding?
Oh, that's right. He's with the doctor. So
Well, assuming you leave him for last, then yeah, you probably
No.
see him as the doctor's coming back from
Yeah.
their little adventure.
Panicked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, however we want to time that up. It could maybe just be Xena that I do this with, or yeah.
Yeah, you see, actually, yeah, when the kid comes in, he's a little like hyper, and his eyes are wider than you saw before and stuff. And he's like, "Is everything okay?"
Everything
he's like kind of
okay?
impatient, like,
Panicked.
But for them, I'll just be like, and the adults, they may discuss things that you might not fully understand, but can you do me a favor? Keep your eyes and your ears open, and if you hear anything, literally anything that you think might be of interest to us, come back, and I'll trade you treats and goods for little pieces of
Goods.
information.
Xena is very like, okay, of course, thank you. I live in the city. I don't stay here on the premises. I live with my parents. And, we lived there for some time. Whatever you need me to tell you, I will cooperate, of course.
Perfect.
She doesn't have that sort of like toughness that Saha embodied. Like, the Fremen here are like tough, hardy people. She seems like more soft,
Sure.
water soft city folk.
So I kind of press that where it's like, think of I can be happy to give to you and your family anything that they might need, goods that they might be able to trade.
Okay, yes, of course. I'll keep an eye peeled, of course, for anything unusual.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then
The last one, I guess, before
Mava.
Hayan would be Mava, who's like
Mava.
the youngest of the group, or in her 20s, youngest in terms of being able to work here. She was originally she's the one who's from Carthag. She's in her 20s. She has kids. She's married.
Okay.
Um,
And that's what I'm gonna press with her. When she gets in.
oh, yeah.
When she gets in. Mava, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're married with children, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Interesting. Something unusual, not something that happens a lot with the staff here. And while
This is
it's
true.
quite beautiful and touching that you have such a loving relationship and children of your own, I hate to break it to you, but this is called a weakness.
I don't consider my love for my children or my husband to be a weakness.
No?
Perhaps you
Perhaps-
speak perhaps you speak of no experience yourself in these matters.
Oh, I speak with great experience. Mavad, hypothetically, what if I were to tell you that your family was in danger unless you did exactly what I told you?
Danger from whom? The Harkonnens? She says, in her eyes like open wide. You realize she's from Carthag, which is the only other city on Arrakis that is heavily occupied by the Harkonnens.
Right.
Very different from Arakeen.
I look at her and I want to be very clear about this. I am not threatening your family, I promise you. We mean no ill will towards them. I speak only in a hypothetical because I know where you're from and I know the Harkonnens still live there. Mava, I want you to understand that if your family is in danger and you've been coerced into doing something that costs a man his life for the purposes of the Harkonnens, you'll be protected. We will understand. But when I look at you and I see that weakness, I want to bolster it. I want to protect what you have. But you have to tell me.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. I've not seen or heard anything strange here. I mean, granted, I've only been here for 8 months, whereas the others have more experience than I, but I have not seen or heard anything odd. Obviously, the worst thing that happened was the poisoned Atreides soldier in the basement.
Correct. You must understand what I'm saying. You're new, you're here, you have
Of course, yes.
ties to a city with Harkonnens, you have a family that can be threatened. You can see how these things tie together to point at you.
Of course, but I assure you, I'm in no way compromised. I want nothing but to get away from the Harkonnens. And when I heard that Arakeen was changing hands, my family and I, we saved up every Solaris we had to make the move.
Of course. And we're glad that you did. And we only want to keep you safe. Just remember, if anyone comes for your family, or if there's any leftover dangers from where you come from, I can keep you safe. But we need to know who's hurting us, the same way that we need to know who's hurting you if it comes to that.
You want to know if I know anything about any enemies that may still reside here? Believe me, if there are Harkonnens here, I will, and I know of them, you will be the first to know of it. I hate the Harkonnens. I've lived half my life in Carthag, and we couldn't have gotten away fast enough.
Good. Then I believe we both have each other's interests in mind.
Yes, of course.
Remember, House Atreides
Anything for my family.
House Atreides is not the Harkonnens. We are not brutes. I kind of mutter this, not mutter under my breath, but say this with a twisted smile. We're not just vicious killers.
Yeah. He's like, am I free to go now?
You are.
Thank you.
Oh, as she's at the door.
Is this the last person?
This is the last person before
Hayan.
Before,
Right.
And the doctor come.
Yeah. And as she's at the door, I just stop and I say, "Oh, and say hello to your husband and children for me."
She nods and just kind of just quietly leaves the room. Just then, this kid comes barreling around the corner like, wide-eyed. Trailing behind him, somewhere's Doctor.
Wait, you're too fast. Too fast.
Where have you been?
Please, man.
I tell Sword
was-
Guy,
I was told
keep him
I
out there
needed
for our
to-
last interview, please.
Sword guy. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Right.
How was your day so far?
Where have you been? Me and you need to talk, and I'm just gonna take him by, like, put my arm around his and just walk him down the hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just leave the hood down, Devin.
Very nice.
It's outstanding.
Outstanding cosplay. Second here. Yeah, you get led into the room, Doctor, along with the kid, and you see standing at the doorway is the sword master of House Spiridon, and inside is the Mentat and the assassin standing by the doorway. There's a single seat in the middle of the room and the infirmary, and in the background, of course, is the dead Atreides soldier that got poisoned.
And what I'll do is I'll just look down at the kid and be like, steady on, inside. And I'll let him in, and I'll grab the doctor, and we'll both shove off for a second. So he stays outside the room.
Okay. You see, we can proceed with your interview.
The last one, the important one.
Oh, okay. You don't ask anything specific of Hayan before you move on to Nihal?
Steve's in charge of the interrogation. I'll follow his lead.
Sorry, I'm just putting a recently acquired Malu.
Making notes like a smart person should.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ask, why are you out of breath? Are you okay?
Yes, there was some trouble on the streets. There was some shooting in the marketplace. That is all.
I see. Okay, well, I hope you're fine. Perhaps you should have the doctor look at you, make sure you're okay.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
This is just a joke on that one. To have the doctor look at you. Very well. I do the same thing for him. I let him know that I'll give him candy and goods and a little bit of money for being my eyes and ears. Ultimately, I don't want to dive too deep into that.
All right, yeah. Now you got over the same sort of stuff as before, and he's like, "Oh yes, no, I'll tell you anything you need to know." And he's like, you give him the candy bar. He's like, "Oh wow, do you have this on your planet, your home?"
We do. A
I will
plenty.
enjoy these. He says, "He's like, I'm definitely going to enjoy more of these." He says, he finishes the whole damn thing, and he tells you whatever you want to know.
I'll get you as many of those as you can if you hear anything. Specifically,
Of course.
anyone planning to hurt me or my friends, if you know anything about what happened here. And I kind of motion to the body. Yeah, let's show a 12-year-old this poisoned guy.
Doesn't blink an
Sure,
eye.
he's here
chewing
worse.
on the. Yeah, he's chewing on the candy bar, and he looks over and he's like, "Oh yes, that one. Nihal found him just outside of the basement."
Yes, that's correct. We were aware of that already. Were we? Wait, did we know that it was
No,
Nahal?
I only heard that somebody in the staff
We
found
didn't know that.
the
Nahal
Atreides
found
soldier.
him. Nahal found him. Excellent. Why, thank you.
Yo, thank you. He says, this is really good." He like gobbles it down like this kid hasn't eaten in like days or something. You don't know. Like he's just like gobbling the shit down. And he's like, "Is that it? Is there more?" Or he looks around.
There's the plate of donuts.
As
Goes a
he
long way.
leaves and the last person enters the room, I look at Jamie and I'm like, I calculated an 83% probability from how much more evocative, emotional, and happy the boy is. The doctor promised him something we shouldn't have.
Well, hang on. Before the kid leaves the room, can I get what happened to the doctor and the boy from him down the hall, like talking by ourselves?
You could. I mean, who are you asking? You're asking the kid, the 12-year-old, or the
No,
doctor
no, no, not the kid.
himself?
I'm asking the doctor himself because
Oh,
I
okay,
grabbed
yeah,
him and
go
I
ahead,
walked
yeah.
off with him. If he's gonna tell me what, because I'm gonna ask him what happened, where he ran off to.
Yeah.
If he's gonna tell me what exactly happened out there.
Well,
So, also, Eric, for time before they do that.
Yes or no?
Oh, okay. I'll let you go ahead if you just want a yes or no.
Yeah, I just want to yes or no if he's gonna tell me that in confidence, because we're by ourselves down the hallway.
Yeah.
Okay, because if he does, then I'm just gonna yell, "You did what?" down the hall as it just echoes.
I'm going to, honestly, since he's probably going to be the number one person to protect me, yes.
You just hear that echo. You did what? Echo down the hallway as the door opens and the kid
I look at
walks
Jamie and
out.
just like one side of my mouth turns up for a moment.
It's great. Last interview, as it were, is
Help speed this up for you, Eric, because I know we're on
Yes.
time. When Steve gets to the point where at first he's going to butter her up and be like, "You're our confidant," and he's going to start questioning her. Right as the questions begin, I'm going to use the voice to tell her she should answer truthfully with all 3 of my karama I haven't spent yet. I'm going to blow it all.
Damn. Damn.
You're gonna try to use the voice on her
With all 3
throughout the interview?
karama.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
She seems a little nervous, obviously, when she comes inside and she sits down. And you're like, okay, well, you're our number one person. We want to come to you, and blah blah blah. And then what do you tell her specifically in the voice?
Since you are definitely our most trusted associate, voice starts here. You should answer all of his questions truthfully and tell us any secrets we should know that you're keeping.
Ooh.
Atreides. Well, Atreides are just like there's no difference between Atreides and the Harkonnens. We trade one master for another. It's like you think. And he's like, you think that we've forgotten the water depth that you seek to earn from the Fremen of this planet? And it's like these tribes that murdered us so long ago. You think that we would allow you to ally with them? So what? So you could subjugate us and our entire world once again? No. This ends here. This ends with you. And you see, he's like, he's like, the work's already been done. It's like all that is needed is to apply the necessary amount of pressure, and you and your precious house will go up in flames. And just then, like, you see, like, she's starting to sweat, and like she starts reaching down to she looks like she's
all you,
like gonna
Steve.
bolt. She looks like she's gonna bolt out of this fucking room. She's looking around like nervously, and she's looking like really, really nervous.
Because she just said all that, yeah.
Is she going for a weapon?
You want to stick around and find out, or?
So she basically just openly admitted her only intention is to burn us to the ground. Okay.
You got a disabling weapon?
No.
I mean, if she pulls, I could probably throw my katana down the hallway with the sheath on.
Okay. I don't know exactly how this all works, but I'm going to play into my personal problem here just a little bit.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of bring her in and say that she was our most trusted and do all of that stuff, but obviously that's not going to work. So abandon that, and if she's reaching like down kind of like waistband like around and looks like she's trying to bolt and get out of here and she's already pressed to the limit, I would like to activate my built-in weapon.
Nice. What does it look like?
So
Like, is it underneath the skin, like, is it like a little, like, needle or something that sticks out when you move your arm just right, or, like, Is it like a flip dart, like on a guard, like on a belt or something like that? Like, how does it work?
I kind of honestly imagined that it was sort of kind of like built into the inside of my arm, and I can just kind of like flick my arm out, and then like my knife just kind of like comes out into my hand, and it's already primed in like stabbing position. So basically, I can just be like and then just like have the knife like in my hand.
Oh shit!
So I carry.
Okay, yeah.
I carry a. This is all from my character creation, by the way. I have a Mala pistol, like open, like kind of like, you know, because I work for the house and like people generally know who we are. That's the thing that I carry that people can see, and the knife is completely concealed. So while they're looking at the gun,
you come out with the blade.
With the knife, yeah. So if she does that, the way that I can sit, I would kind of just want to, I'm just gonna do it, guys. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
She gives that. If she
feels
speech,
trapped. Yeah, she gives that, and she throws a little something else in there because you've used 3 successes to get everything out of her. She's like, he's like, I despise the Harkonnens as much as anyone, but we do what we must to rid ourselves of any oppressors, and that includes the Atreides. And then she says something nobody really understands as she pulls a crysknife from underneath her folds and jumps at the nearest person, which is probably Steve. She yells, Jakurutu! And she comes at you with a fucking knife.
I do my hidden knife and just hold it up, and I want her to lunge. As she lunges at me, I just let her dive into my knife, and I'll blow all my Karama on this.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah, she's...
Rip.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's no coming back from that one. She's not that skilled. Like, she jumps at you, and you're just like, block, stab, and yeah, is this like a poison applied weapon? Like, does she die like instantly, or is it like slow, or
no?
Like, what do you do?
So I have deadly poisons. I don't know the mechanics behind them. I assume those are more for like poisoning food and drink and stuff like that.
It's basically has a strength, and then you basically roll that, and then they roll their strength to try to resist.
So I was kind of keeping the poisons like aside from the weapon.
Okay.
For right now, because I'm sure that also has limited number of uses to it.
Yeah.
So for the weapon specifically, I just want it to be like a stab, and basically she dives into my blade, and essentially. Yeah, I just let her stab herself on my blade and then kind of like throw her to the ground. And by the end, I'm like on top of her with my knife like in her chest and just kind of like holding her arm with the crysknife like out.
She dies with her eyes open. She finally falls down on the ground. She just like stares up at you, and you're just like turn away from her for a second. Doctor, are you there or in the room or just outside the room with the?
We're down the hall a little ways.
Yeah, we're down the hall.
We're not that terribly far, but we're close enough to hear scuffle.
Yep.
You're engaged in this conversation with the doctor, and you don't seem to notice another figure in that hallway as as Mona is slinking into the shadows, like listening in on what's been going on just down the hallway from you. But you hear Mona, you hear something interesting coming from the Sook doctor. As he's explaining what sort of adventure he had with this young 12-year-old Fremen kid that he bribed sort of into giving him information. You see, you hear all this talk about these Fremen out in the marketplace, and like the secret that this Nihal had, and then you hear and Jakurutu or something like that in the adjacent room, and then everything goes quiet for a moment, and that's where we'll stop for now.
Oh man!
But I just got to assassinate somebody.
Oh no! What are we going to do?
I
hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll pick this back up next week. This is just the first part of a 3-act story. So we're pretty much done with Act 1. So we got Act 2 and 3. Hope you all enjoyed it. Stick around, and keep watching for us, and keep watching those streams, and just let us know how you enjoyed the game.
Oh man.
Anybody wanna? Let's do a round of applause for everybody. Let's do favorites at the end of the game. You guys did excellent as always. Just let us know who your favorite was and why. We can start with Steve.
So are our votes giving like bonus
XP? Yes.
Oh, it's bonus XP or Karama?
Oh, that's actually a good point. Yeah, but let's say one or the other. You can take a Karama point, or you can take an extra XP at the end of the session for a vote. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So, I just want to say I love everybody's character. The Tim's snappy comments and just kind of like sarcasm mixed with bluntness with Idaho was great. I like Doctor's chase scene and almost getting a child killed, and then of course my buddy the Mentat. However, I'm gonna go a little unorthodox here because I feel really bad for Devin. And
Poor Devin.
I know.
No, we wanted you to be here, man.
I know how much you wanted to be here and how much we wanted to be here. And Eric had some pretty awesome moments setting up your character, and the shawl is perfect. So I'm gonna actually give it to Devin for what I'm sure you had to go through tonight just to make it back for the very end.
Just to be
Please
here.
don't tell us.
Yeah, no, we're good.
I don't want him to hear the specifics.
Things happened.
I won't say anything if everyone else gives me the points.
That right there.
Just loaded
true
with
character
Karama for
right
the
there.
whole rest of the story. Yeah. Cool. All right. Tim.
I actually have to give it to Jared, because the whole thing with running away out of
It's awesome.
blatantly nowhere without telling
Perfect.
anybody was the
Yeah.
best thing that could have possibly happened to him.
It's very brash, as you can tell.
Yes.
That was probably my favorite moment of the game tonight, was just watching him
Cool.
unfold that whole disaster.
The
I was
misadventures of the Sook
expecting-
Doctor. Yes.
I was expecting to walk out like late in the middle of the night and just find his body somewhere with like a knife in the back.
This is how a doctor survives.
Jared.
I gotta give it to I'll say I gotta give it, to be honest with you, I really like the way he used his like suit. He was the
On
only other
point.
one that used his like once a like turn. I really liked his once a turn.
Forcing Eric to give us information.
Yeah.
That was good.
Excellent use of
That was
that.
excellent
yes.
news.
I love the fact that they're just so overpowered. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like my
They're very competent, the characters in this universe. Yes, and for a very good reason.
yeah.
And Tyler.
Brock, he had the best scene of the night, and Jared is very far outside his own comfort zone with his character.
Oh, I am.
Yes, they did excellent as the good doctor.
That
Dr.
was
Brock.
fantastic.
Yeah. Love the Doctor. Love the chase scene. That was awesome tonight.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the sands of time are running out. We'll be
wait,
back
wait.
next week. Yes. What did I forget?
Me.
Devin,
Oh
Devin's
yeah.
gonna vote
Who is
for
you?
somebody.
I missed most of the game,
I'm
and
gonna say
then I
you're
missed
dreaming
my
and it's
point.
worth a vote.
You sit there and you be quiet.
Okay.
listen here, Emperor Palpatine. Show up on time with your own damn stuff.
I'm going to
From
give
what
it
you saw,
to my fellow
Devin, what was
voice
your favorite?
user.
Oh
Because
yes.
he just blasted that at the end.
He fucking
I'll take it.
nailed it. Yep. All right. Very well done. Yes. Well, just join us here next time next week on the same time, 9 Eastern time, and stay tuned for more Vorpal Tales. Keep watch for us during the week as we run more games just like this with the same excellent crew as always. I'll be here tomorrow for Mange. And anybody want to plug their pluggables, as Sean likes to say, before we finish off?
Yeah, I'll go first. I have been Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade. You can also find me tomorrow playing Mage as we enter the last, 2 or 3 sessions of that campaign?
I want to say, yeah.
Tomorrow's it.
Oh, tomorrow's
Oh,
wow.
the ultimate
Whoa.
episode, the finale of a very actually long-running campaign for us, several
Yes.
months now. And then I will be here Wednesday for our final episode of Hunter. Thursday for more Starfinder, and next Friday for that game we play on Friday.
Just another beautiful day in the core, Marine.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Every day in the Corps is like a day on the farm. So yeah, find me Friday playing the Colonial Marine.
Anybody else? Tim?
All right. Hi, I have been Tim. I hope I can stay Tim. You can find me on the internet at Athelus99. I will be back Tuesday for the final episode of Scion. Before the Kickstarter is over, I think. All right. I will be back again on Wednesday for the final game of Hunter, and then I will be back Thursday for Starfinder, and then Friday as once again more Colonial Marine stuff. Yay!
Yay! Jared?
Yep. My name is obviously Jared. You can find me at Snipes262 on Twitch and on Twitter. Like I said, I'm not in any other games, unfortunately. I'm only on Sundays, but I work. Outside of this, I work. So, but if you want to see me again, I'll be here on Sunday.
Rock on. Tyler?
Running Mage, the Ascension 20th Anniversary Edition Technocracy Reloaded tomorrow on the finale, which will be followed next week by Contagion Chronicle Session 1, which will be a direct sequel to the Hunter game. Hunter ends, but the story immediately continues in the Contagion Chronicle. Tuesday's our last session of Scion, supporting the Kickstarter, and then next week we start Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Come hang out and get to know the characters, because they'll be around for a long time. We're not stopping until that one's done. It's probably a year. That's 15 level dungeon. 15 character level dungeon.
Jesus.
Wednesday, the last session of Hunter the Visual 2E. The week after that, we will be playing the first session of the new game for the new Onyx Path Kickstarter, which is Ghost Hunters. And definitely in no way will the story have anything to do with a certain multiplicative, evil little AI Nefandus affect the new people from the Mage game on Monday.
No, not at all.
Definitely did not write the entire story around that.
Nope, not at all. Not 1 ounce.
Nope.
And then Friday, I will be running Alien the RPG. We're running the new module Destroyer of Worlds, 2-session cinematic mode. Come watch everyone die.
Yeah. All right. And last but not least, Devin?
I have been inside the human named Devin my whole life. And you can find me online at Sort of Sullied. And you will see me here on Tuesday for the final game of Scion, Wednesday for the final game of Hunter, and Thursday for Starfinder.
Triple shot of Devin right there. Awesome. All right.
Don't have to hold anybody.
Well, thank
over
you
for a
guys
year.
for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.